guess we're good. We're going to open the Selectmen's meeting of December 10th. Open session public meetings are subject to being videotaped. Your image and voice may be recorded. We have a few moments. I'm not even looking at this. I don't believe there were any minutes.
No.
Oh,
Do you want to jump to number 2?
no, I was gonna say something. I almost forgot.
Oh, yes.
On behalf of the Berlin Selectmen, I would like to acknowledge that the City of Worcester has lost one of their firefighters on Sunday. Chris Roy died while on duty assisting to put out a fire on Lowell Street in Worcester. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family and community during this time.
That was nice, thank you.
What can we skip down to?
2.
To
that
the
that
fire
quick?
and EMS chief contract?
You do that in 6 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You had received the email that I sent you from Paul.
Yeah.
Okay. Comments, questions?
Well, I have concerns about trying to get somebody in here by March. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes, I don't think that means he needs to notify someone by March, but he wouldn't be done till July 1.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Are you reading it?
Yeah, I am. I'm looking at it. I mean, I think that he just wanted us to make a decision for him by March, whether we were going to renew or extend his contract. But yeah, I mean, he has a contract through Berlin until the end of June, so I'm
Right.
assuming that Paul would honor it and not fail. Yeah.
Can we just verify, just to make sure that because there's an issue with his pension needing to restart in March, or notification, so I just want to make sure that.
I mean, I can ask. I mean, another question that I had about this, where he's saying that, what his total compensation is and that he wasn't asking for any more. Well, he's asking for additional time off, so that's compensation. And we're still paying for his car, so that's additional compensation. So I just have a concern where he's saying that he just wants to say flat. To me, that's not flat if you're asking for additional time. So, I mean, I can ask him, if we make the decision not to renew it, what his plans are.
He may be here later this evening. He
All
had
right.
to pick up his son at the airport or something.
Yeah, it's 6:20. I mean, we can ask him, but again, I don't think that he would leave if we said that we weren't considering renewing his contract. So I don't know if you want to make a motion on that, if we should make a motion, or if you want to wait and talk to him and we can ask him either tonight if he shows up, or I can follow up with him in email and then we can ask him again on Friday.
Well, I mean, we've started the search.
Correct.
I think that it's our intention to go forward with the search to get someone else in, so I think it's only fair to I mean.
Correct, to let him formally know that we're not
Yeah.
going to continue with his contract after June 30th. Okay. So is that our decision? Okay.
I think so.
All
And
right.
make a motion to that effect?
So I make a motion not to renew the contract of Chief Z for fire after this coming June.
With his contract ending June 30th.
With his contract ending June 30th, yes, we will not be extending past that date.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Anything else to be said? Okay, all in favor? Aye. All right, motion passes.
Is it unanimous?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I can talk briefly about the 1870 Town Hall Manager job description, if you'd like. I think was self-explanatory, that I was just looking for direction as far as, I drafted it in such a way that the Town Hall Manager would report to the Selectmen. However, that's not a done deal, of course. I just sort of wanted some direction on the Town Hall Advisory Committee and how you felt about having them continue or not continue.
Well, is the work done?
Yeah.
The elevator project is nearly done. It's just the curatorial building now.
Is there anything else left that they need to oversee?
They've been sort of overseeing Leanne and the whole thing for a while, right? This isn't, they
Right.
weren't just put together for the
Right.
project.
So maybe they also end come July 1?
Well,
I mean,
what
I guess I would like them to continue.
okay.
Managing.
Would you like me to have a conversation with them again?
Mm-hmm.
I did have a conversation once, and I can have another conversation with them to see how they would feel about July 1 this year or July 1 next year, or maybe 6 months after the next fiscal year starts. Does that sound?
Yeah, and we can always reevaluate when the town administrator comes in and there's somebody day-to-day who could potentially handle this, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, as far as I know, there have been no actual issues with the way they've handled things over there, other than there have been questions about what gets paid out of what,
Right.
which now seems to be at least
Right
somewhat
now,
straightened out.
it is. I think it probably will be improved if we get someone at some point, or Leanne, who wants to do some marketing of some kind. So I can have a
Okay.
conversation with them.
Okay.
All right. Well, it's 7:10, and because there was some issues with changes to the poll hearing, I will make the motion to continue and then dismiss without prejudice the National Grid poll hearing, open December 3rd. Said petition requests to be renoticed for January 2nd at 7:10.
Second.
Agreed.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Can we do number 7? We have like 4 minutes.
Can we
Motion
do-
to approve Steve Baird to the Earthwork Advisory Committee.
Seconded?
Okay, anything else to be said?
Nope.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there 3 of us now?
That didn't take as long as I thought.
Yeah. We're still waiting to hear from Board of Health, I believe. Not Board of Health,
Planning?
yeah. Was it Board of Health, Mary?
Nobody in planning was interested. We were waiting for Board of Health.
Right. I don't know whether they've had a meeting or not yet. We're going to talk about it at their next
So
meeting.
there's 3 letters there, Peg. There's one for Joe, Lynn Sally, and Steve Beard.
It's probably in this pile.
No,
No, these are the
it's in your
warrants.
folder. Chris, in front of you.
Oh.
Yep. Then they have a letter to bring to Eloise to get sworn in. Back,
Back or
Mhm.
forward?
towards your left hand,
Okay.
like the very front of the folder probably.
No. These are budgets.
Yep, back.
Really.
Oh, yeah, let's see, you went out of order.
Budgets first, right?
Yeah, we did.
How about you just catch them on the way through?
Yep.
It's after budgets.
Okay.
All right, we'll get to that. Don't let me forget. All right.
Can you do any of those? So since renewals are hard to find too. So can you fit those all the way too?
Yeah, it was number 7, but I didn't want to mess up the pile.
Oh, I see my name. There's 3 of them there. Okay. I don't think there's anything else we can do.
Licenses?
Yeah, 8 you can do.
Well, go ahead, sign.
Okay.
We'll wait for you.
No, go ahead, keep going. Takes me a while to remember my first name, how to spell it.
I assume we're just approving the,
It's the history of what.
2018.
Yeah,
What we've done.
and how much they paid.
Okay. That's the,
It's after what we just took out of the pile for Steve Beard.
right. Engagement letter?
Could probably do that too. That's for June.
Oh, all right. So that,
Is,
It's number 5.
okay. So this is the contract for our, for FY18 audit services?
We had a 3-year contract, this is the last year for it, but they give us an engagement letter every year with it, so this will be the last year of the contract.
Okay.
motion to approve.
seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, it's 7:15.
All right. Pam? Would you like to come up? This for you.
Oh, thanks.
So tell us what's going on.
Okay, Matt's going to tell you so.
Yeah, so, good evening. We're just coming before the board tonight regarding the building permit that was issued at 208 Lancaster Road. It was issued on 6/20, revised on 9/5, and later revoked on 12/3 due to what the building inspector is stating as a mistake on his part. With the house 2/3 complete, thousands of dollars invested, I guess we're coming for some help to understand, where this is going. How can this be a mistake? Who's going to pay for the mistake? Or how can we move forward to continue building this project?
Okay.
So,
Do you want to go into the specifics of the issue, or?
the issue that was just brought up on 12/3 is that the building lot is 4,000 square feet too small to be a buildable lot. However, back in, I think it was 95, yeah, about 6 years ago, that property was issued a permit for a
10 years.
garage and a septic system for the future home. So that was issued. We applied for the permit back in June. That was issued in June. There was, I believe, the building inspector had some comments about the lot being too small. Pam provided Mass General Law that there's 2 properties split by the railway. Under Mass General Law, under agricultural, a railway or waterway cannot separate 2 properties. So at that point, the permit was issued, assuming there was no issues at that point. Went ahead with the building, and then I guess here we are 4 months later. They've been asked to stop the project.
Okay. Does either of you have any questions?
How long have you owned the property?
About 12 years, maybe. 10, 12 years.
So that would be about 2000.
I don't remember
6?
exactly, but right in there.
2004. Okay. Molly, you provided information that in 2006 or 2007 that was labeled an unbuildable lot.
Yeah, from the plan that was recorded. I don't know how that got on there. You'd have to probably,
Okay.
I
So
brought
can
that
you-
plan with me when I applied for my permit, so, and Joe addressed it, that it was non-conforming, and I sent him what Matt just told you, and then he issued the permit. But
I guess the
haven't-
question is, how was the permit issued if there was no sign off, or now all of a sudden there's a concern? I guess it should have been brought up at that point.
I guess I'm curious as to why, if you knew it was an unbuildable lot.
It's not, there is a building on that lot already. It was issued with a septic system for a future 3-bedroom, with the intent that there was a house going on there. I mean, you would have never built the septic system at that point for that house. You know,
Because the
so-
backland, that's the,
Yeah.
Can you guys clarify it all?
If I may, can I approach?
Sure.
Thank you. As a matter of fact, in front of you, there's a few things that I had printed out. I believe Lisa's got a copy of it. Ms. Doback also has a copy of possible solutions in order to rectify the situation. The original stop work order came through not due to the fact of the permitting issue. It was that work was continuing without inspections, and then upon an inspection came about that the work was done incorrectly, and then one thing led to another on that. And I lost confidence in Ms. Stoback because she was the owner pulling the permit, which is fine, is allowed to be done, you know, here by law. However, it's up to the person that pulled the permit to make sure that everything's built to ordinances and building codes and so forth. With the issues that were there, and then the individual that I spoke to, I had explained to him that they did some work incorrectly, that they needed to correct it. That individual went off on me. I asked him if he had his code book with him. I could show him in his code book how we can move forward and what to be looking for. He said he didn't have a code book. I said, well, aren't you licensed? He says, no, I'm not licensed. And he walked on. So I said, time out, we're going to suspend the job right now. So then, in the process of doing that and going through everything, and then it was brought to my attention that this was originally an unbuildable lot. I don't recall giving permission. I went through all 40 emails that I have between myself and Pam, which are very cordial, up till the last 2. And there's nothing in here in writing that I gave her permission to build on a lot that was non-conforming. So I'm a little curious. I just don't recall. This goes back to April. So I don't recall the actual conversation. However, going through here and looking at what she supplied in the original permit when she applied in February of 18 for the 3-bedroom residence, going through all of that, it was signed off by the Board of Health, signed off by the tax collector. Sometimes I don't get a chance. I knew there was a building on there. I didn't look really closely at the building lot itself due to that fact, because why would the Board of Health sign off if you can't build on the lot and so forth?
And the Board of Health did sign off on the septic and so on
Yeah.
and so forth.
I have this signatures right here, so
Yeah.
I have all that. And then looking back at it here, she applied as the homeowner, will be hiring contractors to do the work on her property, but I haven't gotten information on who the contractors are or that information. So what I did is, I said, let's get this squared away, let's figure out what we can do. So I revoked the permit for the time being, and I did that under the building code, which is under 780 CMR, which I had supplied you all with here as far as the administration enforcement powers and duties, the inspections, anything that pertained to it is all highlighted, the coordination of inspections, and then the validity of permit. The validity of the permit, and I just want to state this real quick so that we have it in voice. It says, "The issuance or granting of a permit shall not be construed to be a permit for or an approval of any violation of any of the provisions of this code or of any other ordinance of the jurisdiction, which be zoning bylaws. Permits presuming to have given authority to violate or cancel the provisions of this code or other ordinances of the jurisdiction shall not be valid. The issuance of a permit based on the construction documents and data shall not prevent the building official from requiring the correction of errors in the construction documents and other data. The building official is also authorized to prevent occupancy or the use of the structure with a violation of this code or any other ordinance of this jurisdiction." So that's where I revoked the permit. There's an issue here, the lot is non-conforming, it's smaller. The suspension and revocation which is where I enacted that. It says the building official is authorized to suspend or revoke a permit under the provisions of this code wherever the permit is issued in error or on the basis of incorrect, inaccurate, incomplete information or in violation of any ordinance or regulation or any other provision of this code.
So what information was missing?
So the information that was missing was Ms. Doback took out the permit of her own. She actually said this gentleman here is the contract supervisor that has been doing the project. So when somebody comes in and pulls a permit, if they're the person that's signing it and saying, "Hey, I'm taking out the permit, I'm the owner," it's up to them to make sure that all building codes, all zoning ordinances, everything are followed, and it's completely their sole responsibility. When we had a conversation on the phone, I believe, just a few days ago last week, the end of last week, I explained to her that she had guys there to do installation. I said, "Mr. Doback," I said, "I haven't even done a rough frame inspection yet, or a sheathing inspection, or
That's
anything
right.
like that."
They showed up, and as soon as I realized that, I shipped them off.
So I said to her, I said, "You know, we need to get the inspections in line first." She says, "Well, I'm due for my electrical inspection today." I said, "All right." I said, "We need to have a framing inspection after that, prior to installation, kind of give her the order of inspections, so that she understands." She reiterated on the phone, "Obviously, I don't know what I'm doing, I need help." So I said, "All right, time out.
Thanks.
Let's get you the help that you need." And then she informed me that she did have a construction supervisor that has been there every day. So my lack of confidence, if somebody is a licensed individual and they don't know the general flow of construction, raises some red flags for me. So I wanted to be able to have a conversation. So in the process of them coming in to have that conversation with me, came about all the issues that we had with the lot. Now, the error in which it was issued, the permit being issued, was they had a septic and well sign off already over there. There is a building on the lot, but the lot got subdivided with not having 80,000 square feet. It has 76, it's just about, it's almost 3,500 square feet shy. She has 18 acres directly behind it, and she has a lot directly next to it that has 80,000 square feet. I don't know if it's a possibility to pick up those other 3,000 plus square feet from the lot right directly behind of the 18 acres. If it's not a possibility, I have put out a sheet here on the front, and the best ways to rectify this of any sort. So regarding 208 Lancaster, the first thing that I noted was the owner pulled permit as owner doing work themselves. What I would ask Ms. Doback to do now is come in and refile the permit with the licensed construction supervisor so that I have a point person. The construction supervisor must be on the job site at all times, have the applicable code books with the amendments available on site for reference if need be, and follow the list of required inspections. That would take care of the building code things that we've been running into, instead of Ms. Doback doing that. She doesn't have to repay for an entire permit fee for the entire building. She just needs to pay for the $50 in-house changing, the paperwork portion of it.
Well, I
And
guess
then-
go ahead, sorry.
And then with the zoning issues, with a lot that's less than 80,000 square feet as required by our zoning bylaws, I recommended two things, because the planning board would have allowed them to separate the lots into a buildable lot. So I'm not sure what the planning board might have for recommendations on solving the lot dimensional issues. And if we can't get that route, There may or may not be a possibility where she could go in front of the ZBA and ask the ZBA for a variance from the lot requirements due to a hardship that the building's already been put in place. These are the things that have happened. And then it was also brought to my attention that she's having some water issues over there. There were a couple feet of water in the basement at one point. I don't know if it's due to a high water table or possible wetlands on the property. But I would suggest that maybe she reach out to the Conservation Commission and just see if they've ever had any issues with the property in the past, or if they have any concerns, or if they would be fine with it, and just tell her how to proceed.
Well, I guess a few questions that I have that come to mind is that if you sent her an email in June and said, hey, come in and get the permit, why is it now in November that you're revoking the permit? I mean,
So
that's 7 months that I would think
Yeah.
any typical landowner would be like, I got the permit, I'm going, I'm gonna
Right.
build.
So the initial revocation was due to the lack of confidence in their abilities to construct the project,
Which was what?
which is not doing the inspections, and then when I went to do the inspections, it was constructed incorrectly.
No, but when?
That was just this past week. Like,
So, but again, that's my original question.
Right, so that's-
You issued it in June, and it's now November, and you're
Right.
revoking it, so.
Yeah.
6 months go by,
Right.
and all of a sudden you're saying cease and
Right,
desist?
because more information came to me, yeah.
So, another question that I have, we sat here a couple weeks ago and talked about all the things that needed to be signed off, and there was some software that was going to like spit out
Mhm.
a list of who was doing what. Where is that list? Because I'm thinking if that list existed, we wouldn't be sitting here.
Most definitely. That software's not up and running yet.
So when is the software going to be up? And I apologize, it feels like the Spanish Inquisition, it's not. When is the software going to be up and running?
So we have all the tablets in, we have to formulate all the software onto the tablets. We're talking a couple of weeks.
Well, my other concern is that if you're having Pam and her contractor go back to ZBA or planning, you're now setting a precedence where somebody else is going to say, oh, well, I'm short on land and she got it passed, so I don't care, I'm going to go get it passed. I mean, I'm just
That's-
having,
It's actually unique to each individual property. So the ZBA, and to order issue a variance, is based on a case-by-case basis. So if, for whatever reason, the ZBA says, sure, we'll give you a variance, you're in a hardship, whatever, then they can do that. If they decide that they don't want to issue a variance, they don't have to. They're not required by law to issue or not issue.
so then
That's why.
she's stuck.
Well, there are some things that she can do, but she can go back to the planning board and find out why. I don't even know how the original building got on there or the septic system got in there. These are all,
It was approved.
they were all,
Again, there was a building permit issued.
those were years before I was here.
Yeah.
So I don't know the
There seems to be
circumstances
something
around those.
missing. I mean, how would we know that there's no sign off after the permit's issued? You know, I don't know.
As far as the inspection thing, you're talking about the sheathing inspection, and in an email, I did request one, and then you did tell me you didn't see it, and that's fine, you didn't see it. And when you got there to do it, I asked if you could do the rough frame, because my electrical and plumbing were signed off, and the sheathing, in your opinion, had failed. So I did get an engineer, and he's working on it right now, and
Mhm.
he seems to think it's sufficiently acceptable the way they did it.
Well, my code book reads differently, so, but
Yes,
that's.
I don't think that's the issue tonight. We'll deal with that separately, but
Mhm.
So what are the steps that we need to take to move this thing forward?
I've listed what I would be looking for.
Yeah, it's probably in the pile somewhere, it's okay, we can share. So, you're already on the site, correct?
Mhm.
So that one's done. You need a code book?
No, we haven't.
no, I have the code book.
All right, so that one's done.
It's a non-issue.
So,
And you're licensed?
Yes.
Correct.
so do you have the list of required inspections?
We do now after we met.
On the
That hadn't been,
3rd.
it wasn't included in that package
Well, so
that we
then-
originally got, but we have it now.
The original building
Joe-
permit doesn't give it.
Yeah, Joe, yeah, it's not on there to sign off for sheathing, so, but Joe did give us a new form on Monday, December 3rd when we met him.
So it's not on the sheet, but yet you're kind of penalizing them when they didn't know that it needed to be there.
It's up to them, that's their due diligence.
But I would also think it would be up to you as the building guy to help guide them and go through this sheet and say, oh, by the way, XXX isn't on it, you might want to consider.
My job is not to hold their hand throughout the entire process or to manage their project. It's way too much going on for me to do that. All of these documents are online.
So
the-
your average contractor would know the inspections that needed to go in the order
Contractors,
that they needed
contractors
to go
that
in.
have been doing work know all of these. Mark Rhodes, for example, calls for all of these. He knows exactly what's due.
But there are residential people who are doing renovations, and they may not know the process.
Right, and then we let them know right up front.
But I didn't get that sheet with all those extra inspections up front. The one I just got on December 3rd. I'm trying to find it.
So that's my point. If
This
you're
one.
saying that you tell them up front that you just got it,
We have them in the office. They're public documents.
So am I supposed to go in your office and look for all this stuff? I mean, I'm just asking.
I think this is probably why most people do get a professional,
Right.
like the gentleman down
Right.
at the table, correct?
I mean, she came to
'Cause you
me.
know-
Typically,
I mean,
any
you would
inspections would
know-
come with the permit too. Every town is different too. Each inspector is different.
So what would your process typically be if you were gonna build for somebody? What would you do?
As far as the inspection,
Well,
rough
you're-
inspection. I
Well,
mean,
just-
foundation, backfill,
You're
rough
going into a
inspection.
new community.
Mhm.
What is your process to find out what you need to do in that new community?
It's typically would come with the building permit. If something was out of the ordinary from a typical rough frame, you know, if you're looking for that, you got your electrical, you got your mechanicals.
So the building permit application and the building permit that we have was generated many years ago. The new permit applications, or permits rather, that will be printed out due to the new software, take into account the actual inspections that are conducted these days, and they have all the new fields in them. So
Once again.
when
it's-
this is something I can't modify.
Yeah.
This is a state form that I can't modify.
So how
So-
do we get penalized for?
So it's not that you get penalized, it's you ask the question. I mean, it came out pretty simple when I said, hold on, time out, you didn't have a sheathing inspection. Well, I didn't know. Okay, well, now you have to have one.
Yeah,
So-
which is a non-issue.
Right, so I came out and the sheathing was done incorrectly, and the wall bracing wasn't done correctly. So I had made note of that. And I wasn't going to continue on because that's part of framing in itself. So if you can't put plywood on the building, I'm not gonna go through the entire building. I'll wait until you at least correct the wall bracing. That's like step one, putting plywood on,
Okay.
you know.
So we are beyond these, either way, we're beyond these now.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
So she,
These here seem to be out of our jurisdiction. These are with the zoning board. I mean, that's not,
Correct, and I guess my point is that you didn't have all the information that you needed, so you went ahead on good faith with whatever document you had there, but it wasn't an updated one, but yet he's supposed to know it, but you're not in a position to guide him onto what he needs. You issue a permit in June, and then you revoke it 6 months later, when I'm sure there's probably thousands of dollars or more that you've already spent, and you're stuck, waiting on a potential decision that could say no. So then what do you do? I mean, that's kind of where I am. You know, the homeowner is now stuck because of either lack of information, or 6 months later, there's a cease and desist. I'm assuming that's what you have, to stop building. Now we've put a homeowner in a bind where she can't do anything.
I would also say, though, that it's Joe's job to do enforcement when there are issues. He has to stop I mean,
And I agree.
I guess the question, how was the permit issued?
Well, I guess that's my question.
Where was the sign off? We assume that's done internally. Joe's the last one, signs the permit. I got all the information, here you go, start building. So,
Yeah.
that's the problem we have. The first section, there's no issue. We'll deal with our architects and engineers to provide what we need.
But there's no guarantee that somebody's gonna say yes.
So how would you guide them now, at this point?
So my first recommendation, if they can't pick up the extra few thousand square feet from the back lot, which would dissolve this all in one shot, if they can't pick up that,
Well, how would I
Um,
not be able to pick up that?
Yeah, if there's a mass
It's
law.
it's continuous. It's already part of it.
so the 18 acres is part of that lot.
Yeah.
Well, it's a separate deed.
Well,
but
it's separate, but it can, it's the same
So if-
owner, and it
same
cannot
owner
be
and-
separated by railway or waterway.
Okay, so then.
That's how
Okay, so
the
then.
garage was issued.
So this is, okay, so this is where we're having an issue, because the lot that I was looking at said that it's only got 76,000 square feet and change for Lot A. If that Lot A isn't contiguous with the 18 acres behind, it's a null and void. It means you have plenty of square footage. So I don't know why then you have a Lot A that has 76,000 and change square feet. Why wasn't it presented to me that you have
Do you have a helpful
Well, I-
answer, Molly?
No, I don't, but I would suggest that somebody ask the planning board because they're the ones who
Yes.
approved it that way.
Well, that was what I was going to say, because maybe it will be a non-issue after the planning board
Right.
takes a look at it, too.
Well, and that's one of the things, that's why I have
True.
3 things separated here. One is the zoning issue, because of what the planning board's separated there on Lot A, it's less than 80,000 square feet. But if it coincides with the 18 acres, well, then you go well over 80,000 square feet, and that shouldn't be an issue. So my first recommendation to them would be go talk to the planning board and see what their recommendations are. If they say, oh, it's a quick typo error, we can change this, and then we'll sign a new, then it's a done deal.
Right.
I don't think this is a deal breaker where she can never move forward and get nothing done. I think there are ways around this, and I'm willing to assist in any way I can, but I think the first step may be going to the planning board if this is actually attached to that lot. And then, if not, my recommendation to go past that would to be seek a variance from the ZBA. The ZBA I don't have control over, but I would advocate on their behalf to allow that to happen because of the hardship that they would be in. They have plenty of frontage, they have plenty for their setbacks, they have a septic and well over there. I'm not sure if it's a wetland issue or not. That's just something that I know with the water that they had in the basement. Probably just have a conversation with Concom and see if they've ever had any issues over there. Nothing that I'm aware of currently. But I would guide them the best way I could to get them moving forward. My intent here is not to put the brakes on her and say, oh, I'm sorry you spent $100,000, now you just got this vacant thing on the middle of your lot. That's not what I'm looking to do. I want to be able to get her in her home, the plans are very lovely. I want her to be able to utilize her property. The mix-up with all the building code and the inspectional issues that we were having are going to be rectified on the first one. We'll just remove Pam from the application, and we'll put him on the application with his license and everything. And then he's the individual that will now take responsibility for the project and will no longer be on the homeowner.
So if there was an error by the planning board and there was not information on the permit, why should she be penalized to pay another fee? Why wouldn't the town
She's
just
not
suck
going to
it
get
up?
paid another fee.
The refile the permit.
$50 to take her name off and put his name on. That's what the $50 is for.
Understood, it's a small amount of money, but the fact is, there's been errors all along the way, starting with the planning board signing off on the land.
No,
The planning
they
board
haven't been.
signed the plan as not a buildable lot, so they must have had some kind of reason to be, I would think, I have no idea because I wasn't here then, but it's, at the time that the plan was done, it was 80,000 square feet. So if you divide that front up, there's not two 80,000 square feet lots. So I don't know what I
What
don't
was the
know.
year that they put,
I think she said
2006.
that they labeled it that?
2006. the
And
plan
when was,
filed.
did the property change hands?
2004.
Okay. Well, I
So
mean-
she must, I'm assuming she went to the planning board to get this subdivision done. I don't know what conversation or caveats, or I'm not exactly sure how to say that. So it would still have to go back to the planning board to see why they approved the plan that way.
Mhm.
To see
Well, yeah,
what-
that would be the first step. Find out whether it's an error or what the issue is before you move on and try to, I mean, it seems to me if you have two lots
And then,
and
It doesn't
and
make much sense to me, and that's probably how it got issued, was
Right.
because of, there was some...
someone had subdivided it into two lots at some point,
But
and it
I
didn't need
think...
to be.
I think in the process of me issuing the permit was because there was a septic and well on the property with a garage already there.
well, actually, I have in my thing that it was a permit for a barn.
Permit for barn.
Barn,
Yeah,
garage,
barn,
whatever.
garage.
Whatever, but it was a building that was being utilized and septic and well that they had signed off on.
Right.
So, in the mix, I missed a few thousand square feet, looking to see that it's a buildable lot. Now, this whole thing's coming to a head this many months later. I just want to make sure that they can move on with their project, and that they get to move into their house. So, I'm trying to, this bulleted point here is, you know, just, I think, formalities. I'm willing to do whatever I can to help push them through.
Mhm.
You know, I don't want anybody to be out of money, and I don't want anybody not to have a home.
Mary, do you know when the next planning board is, or ZBA meeting is? Did you look that up?
Tomorrow, isn't it?
It's tomorrow night,
The
actually.
planning board?
Yes. You might be able to get
How
5
quick can we
minutes
turn
of their
that around,
time.
yeah.
And I'll be there. I'll be there with you.
Yeah.
Can we
This
get on the
doesn't-
agenda now, or is it too late?
You have to talk to the
it's-
chairman.
yeah.
Yeah, talk to Ron.
I can give you that information.
Yeah, please.
I
Yeah.
had, Tim Wheeler was in my office today, and I had also talked to him about it, and he took a copy of the plan with him.
Right. Yeah, I had reached out to him today too. I hadn't heard anything back, so good.
So, at least one member of the board knows,
Yeah,
so.
I'm sure they'll
Sure.
help you out. I mean, it can't take longer than a few minutes.
Any
Um,
question from the audience?
Yes.
I'd like to say something, but I would like to talk to Pam first, privately, before I open my mouth.
Okay.
Do you want to go to?
You want to go?
So if you're willing to help them out, I mean, as far as
It sounds like you
whatever they
have-
need, then,
I have been from the start.
yeah,
You know, I don't want, I mean,
right.
Are we sure that we're at 2 more weeks for that list? Because when we sat here a couple of weeks ago, we were at 2 weeks to get the list out of
Yeah.
sign, 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 sign.
yeah, it's not, so it's not, the list is already set. It's just launching the software. They're doing all the historical transfer data. So once they get that completely done and the master address list done, we can launch the program.
So in the event someone walks in tomorrow and says, what do I need to do? Can you hand them a copy from that software of all the?
Not yet. I don't have anything yet. I
But you
can- I have a-
generate a list
But-
for.
I can
yeah.
generate a list off of what I have for the format. Do you want me to do that?
I don't need it now, but I'm
No,
just saying,
yeah.
like, when the next
So-
Pam walks in the office.
I'm just,
So,
where are the Pams? Because this is the first time in a year and a half that I've seen someone come in with this. It seems to me that most of the contractors that do this are very aware of the list. Am I
Yeah.
incorrect?
No,
or-
you're-
Well, no, the contractors are. I
They
think
are,
it's the
so-
residential.
Yeah, but the
people.
residential, I
right,
mean,
it's just,
And we do
I
have
think it's
some.
pretty
Yeah.
obvious that Pam was not going to build that house on
yeah,
her own.
and
Right.
she owns the construction company, and the way she filed it was just the homeowner doing the own work. And it probably would have been better if she would have had her foreman come in, just put it under his, you know, she can run it under her own permit, her company, just he's the foreman, his license has to go on it. That's pretty much it. I mean, we're just gonna amend the permit from here anyway, and I'll waive the $50 fee, and she can just, we'll take her name off, put his name on. I didn't know if you wanted to see, these are all the correspondence I've had with her since
Do you wanna
April.
see them?
No,
All right.
but thank you for asking.
Maybe put that in the file.
Yeah, I did look for a file. I don't have anything on 208 other than a tent that was pulled a few years ago for that
Is
property.
it 208 or is it 204? Because when
Oh,
I was
sorry.
looking at the
Yeah,
map,
well,
it's, and
these
that
aren't signed by
information
Chris.
So
that,
That's fine.
that's,
has.
that's kind of,
That's how I got involved in it.
yeah,
yeah, it's a little different.
What
Yeah, I'm not exactly 100% sure. I was talking with Dave, he's out right now, Dave Littrell, but when he gets back, I wanted to get to the,
okay,
because he does the addressing,
yeah.
so I wanted to
Well,
get that
because
squared away.
Bruce Picard did this, did I say his name right?
Bruce
Mhm.
Ricard.
Um,
Close.
This was numbered.
Picard.
I only knew him, I mean, he was only here for a little while when I first started.
Mhm.
But he did those numberings, that was his numbering
All right, so
back.
obviously, I don't have enough information to give you a full, solid background. I wish I did. And obviously, this decided years before I came on board. So, my hope is out of all of this, we get it complete, move on, it's legal, it's conforming, and we're good to go.
Right.
Sorry.
It's okay.
So planning board is tomorrow. Is
Right.
there any help on your end to make sure that we do get on tomorrow's?
They're elected also.
Okay.
That is their choice.
And if we don't get on tomorrow's, the next one is,
Probably a month.
yeah.
Yeah, it won't be
See-
until the beginning of January.
See, that's
because of
the problem
holiday.
we're having. I mean, obviously, we're going into cold weather with heat in the house. I mean, if we knew we could get on tomorrow, we understand it's more a planning issue. But again, I would say it should have been a planning issue in June, prior to this
January
permit.
8th would be the next meeting.
Yeah, but I think the first step is to go try to talk to planning tomorrow night. I think
I
that
agree. So
that's
You
what
might-
happens if
you
we
might
don't
be able
get
to-
on planning tomorrow night?
You might be able to get in
How
under
about-
other business.
we proceed.
I'm-
I would
I'm
be
pretty
shocked
su-
if they.
I will be there also. I was planning to attend. So, between Joe and I, we can persuade them perhaps to
Okay.
at
Maybe
least
you
take a
can
listen.
Call too or something, Joe, see if we
Yeah,
can
yeah, I'll reach out
get
to
on
Ron.
tomorrow.
I'll reach out to Ron.
It's just important, if we understand one night, that's fine.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
with
yeah.
the holidays,
No, I know, I
Yeah,
think
the
we're
January-
all in that same mode. Everybody's got holiday things
know.
going on with family and whatnot. I will talk to Ron tomorrow and see if we can get something, maybe put you on the new business or other business that's like unforeseen,
Yeah.
instead of getting a time, so I don't know when it'll be seen.
That's
But
fine.
hopefully get you heard.
As long as they know about it and they're prepared, because it's gonna be
Yeah.
if they're not prepared, it's not gonna be answered tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Well,
That's the,
Tim does have some of the information, so, perhaps will have had a chance to look at it too before
Is
tomorrow
there
night.
anything that you want to leave that we
Yeah,
can?
well, I'm just kind of wondering about, like, I have to get electric and water back to my barn, and the only way I can do that is to go through the house.
Okay.
And with winter coming, I need to get the heat on in the barn. And can I heat my house to keep the water from freezing going to the barn or
You
not?
have running water in the house already?
No, it's not tied in yet.
Okay. All
My
right.
rough is there.
Okay.
You
All
did
right.
say I could, last week when we were here, you did say I could continue bringing it in from the outside.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
we did.
I guess I don't want you to think like now that we've talked about this. Have you come in tomorrow morning? Well, not tomorrow morning. Tomorrow I'm in. My window hours are from 5 to 7. If you don't mind, the planning meeting is 7 o'clock on. So if you come in before then, we'll get you squared away so that you're on the permit, and we'll remove you as the responsible party from the permit. And then what we'll do is we'll set it up. You guys can continue with construction. We'll get through what we have to get through on as far as the inspections. Make sure we go that way. Even if you want to have a meeting on the job site, we can do that. We'll go through everything, and we can move forward. Now, there are a number of. My job is not to do the design for you, so.
no, we're not looking for that.
I'm just trying, what I'm trying to say is, there's a number of ways to rectify the situation with the sheathing. So, offer me one that fits, and we move forward.
We'll have an
no,
engineered plan for you.
sure, that's fine. I just want us to, like, move forward. You can continue with the build. We'll deal with the lot issues separately. I don't want you to feel that you can't continue to build while you're dealing with the lot issues, because the lot issues could take 6 months, or maybe not. I'm just saying, continue building so that you can get heat to
Additional
the
costs
house.
being incurred in that time frame.
Well, I
I
understand
mean, if
that.
there's a guarantee that it's gonna be approved.
There's no, unfortunately, I can't give any guarantee.
I
But-
think you guys could maybe take this offline.
Yeah, yeah.
So is the cease and desist order lifted?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Okay.
saying. They can continue with working. It's just the lot situation needs to be rectified.
I will see you both tomorrow night.
Thank
Great,
you.
thank you.
All right. You guys want to meet now, or? Okay.
All right. Where are we? Actually, why don't we skip over the building inspector's budget for the moment? How's that?
Okay. Conservation.
We'll do your budget when you're through.
Okay.
All right. I don't know whether Paul is going to make it. Thank you for coming. I don't know if Paul is going to make it tonight. Do we want to discuss the fire and EMS? Not at all?
I
No?
would just as soon have him here. so
Yeah,
that he
because
can
I've got a
answer
ton of questions, so.
Okay.
But we
All
can
right,
do-
then we'll do conservation.
Process of elimination, one by one.
Yep.
Find the pile.
That one's.
And Carolyn had had sent an email.
Right.
Oh, I saw that in additional
Yeah.
monies.
Thanks, Molly.
Thank you, Molly.
Bye, Molly.
She's limping too.
Do you want my crutches?
Like,
I rent them.
What did you do?
Lisa kicked me.
everybody's gonna
I know, now it's
go
on
around the
camera.
building kicking people.
Torn meniscus, both sides, lateral, medial. And she kicked me. Yeah. I know she
that's what I
will
was
kick
gonna
me
say.
afterwards
Keep
after
it-
the
keep
camera
it
goes
up.
off, yeah. I'm gonna need a cart down to my car, please.
All right. Here's the
Is that the
conservation
updated one?
budget.
Okay, motion to approve the conservation budget.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Is that the updated one?
Well, you know, there should be a bottom line here.
Well, I know, but she sent in some more costs, and I just want to make sure that we're approving the right one. And
She sent in more
She just
costs.
sent
I don't think so.
explanation.
I think she just sent an explanation. I think this is the cost and it had gone up by $200.
It went up by $200. There's
because
the
they want more
200.
training.
Yep,
And so it would be 2,200, 2,200.
I like that. 2,000 last year, 2,200 this year. Boom, frugal.
Yep.
And, you know, the more people we can have with the appropriate training, the better.
Correct.
frankly.
So I second her motion.
Okay, good. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'm gonna fill this in.
No, we didn't get that part of it. But I will say this, I had to call the plumber.
All right.
June.
And we have the accountant's budget and the audit. Come on down.
You're the next contestant on Budget 101.
Yay.
Yay. I'm sorry you don't have enough paperwork.
Goodness.
We always like paperwork.
You can never go paperless, can you?
Someday, they keep talking about it. I haven't seen it, but.
Now, can you start off and explain the 35 versus 40 hours? Because I don't get what.
Currently, they are
you.
basing the new amount on 35 hours a week.
You
Salary.
work way more than 35 hours
It's
a week.
based on 35 hours a week. I have been requesting to be paid full-time for 40 hours plus. I'm putting in anywheres between
Yes.
37 and 48 hours a week, depending on what it is. So,
Is that in here? Did you put that in here?
every year, verbally I say it, and every year, it doesn't matter what I give to Finance Committee, because I bring them the numbers and everything. So I'm going with what Personnel has. Personnel, it feels that to bring me up to what a
Closer to what-
35-hour
Right.
salary would be, it's
Okay.
increasing it by the 5,500.
So
So-
would that be a 35-hour or a 40-hour?
35. So Personnel felt that it would be easier to bring my pay up to the market rate versus, in addition to doing that, also asking for 40 hours, which would bring it up to,
5 more hours, yeah.
it would bring it up to 82,000 a year.
Mhm.
So it would be a $10,000 raise, is the way they look at it. So if I can get it to there,
If, you know, and then
last year I
next
was
year-
really psyched because I thought we were gonna do 67, which would bring me in at the entry-level town accountant, and I've been here 30 years. So I'm just trying to get in at the base dollar amount, and so I'm just going with what Finance Committee recommended. And I'm only gonna put in 35 hours a week.
Liar. I only had one question here on your budget. You had a line about QuickBooks and the, oh God,
Asset
asset manager
manager.
software?
Yes,
If we're not using them or they're not supported.
we're using them.
But they're not supported.
Both of them are being used currently. I use the asset manager to record the town's assets. So as of right now, the last time I tried to call them to fix a little glitch, I learned they're no longer in business. So I have to, by state laws, record assets on the books. So I have looked around at a couple of different softwares, which this current one that we're using is not Excel compatible. The new ones that I've been looking at are, so I will be able to do reports for the capital planning committees to help them too with the new software. But right now, what I got is what I
you
got, and I need to do depreciation, so.
Okay. That's all. That was just the question that
So
I had.
could I continue to use this? I could, it's just once I
You're running
can't
on
add any
borrowed
more
time.
lines,
Yeah.
I'm,
You're up.
yeah. So that's what that there, and QuickBooks is the software that we use to bill police details and fire details and things like that.
Mhm.
But we have it networked, so I buy 2 licenses, so it's on the server, so both Sharon uses it and I use it for, she bills, I do the payment and the reconciling. So this is an older version, and it's coming up as non-supported.
So how quickly
That
can we
means
get you
it's
new
really
software?
Well, I mean, if I have
QuickBooks you
money.
could update quickly if that's
I
what you're
can,
sticking with. Are you
but-
changing to something
No,
else?
no, I'm sticking
You're
with it. But the new licenses right now are on sale for $600. If they're not, it's an $800 thing, because I have to buy it so that
You can both use it.
we both use it, so I can get 3 licenses. But this is,
Oh,
so it's not supported, so if we have an issue,
you're
I'm on
going
my
back to a
own.
piece of paper. Yeah.
So, but to upgrade it right now, they were saying that it would be, but it's on sale right now. But I don't have it in my budget. Right now,
And you usually do put that kind of thing in your budget?
No,
I didn't.
Can
I didn't
police-
think so.
no, this is.
Fire, maybe help you with that, or IT
We
help you
could
with that?
we could possibly do it this year, but I don't know that, so I can't take a chance of
Oh,
not.
of course, but
So
how about
I'm asking it.
let's do this, but check and see if they
Yeah.
can do it now, because they have bigger budgets than you
Yeah.
do, and they may be able to find
They very
between the
well
two of
could,
them
yeah.
Or how about
$600.
data systems? No?
Well,
I
that's what I'm
don't know.
saying, between all of that,
Okay.
I think.
It's,
I didn't know
but
if
I
we
was
were
looking
talking
at
about
it as
data
it's my
systems.
problem,
That-
not theirs.
Yeah.
But it is not just your
Your
problem.
It's not, but.
It is
But.
everybody's
yes.
problem, so let's solve the problem
You
together.
have a problem, we all have a problem, June.
I have a problem. Yeah, I know it's
Yeah,
recorded.
I mean-
We'll make her say it louder.
They want to get paid for their details.
Correct.
So if there's
So
if there's a
if
way
I can,
to do that, I
if
think
I
we
could
all
get
should
that
do
done ahead of time, then I can
Yeah.
eliminate those 2.
Well, and if it's on sale, and it's going to give you the software that you need, so you don't get that ugly error message anymore, and just count the days until you get black screen of death. Let's be realistic about this. Let's not be penny wise and pound foolish on this.
Okay.
And
Right.
So I will
so,
check.
with this ridiculous 35-hour thing, you are at least getting paid what you should get paid, or are you still
That will bring me
woefully-
up to what what,
The
it's not the
hourly.
bottom, because
Right.
about 67, 68 is the bottom
Mhm.
for a 40-hour work week. So, it's bringing it up, and I would be very happy with just making what a starting town accountant would make right now.
Put the next step in the budget next year.
Yep. That's what we get
Add
every
the,
year.
add the,
And then I
the
go.
5
and
hours.
They say, yeah, it's all good, and then I see it cut back at town meeting, so
I'm-
it's just, it is what it is.
I'm going to
No.
the FinCom meeting.
Yeah.
Also, so.
Don't let
So.
this happen this year. This
Mm-mm.
isn't okay. You know, I get that we need to, but we need to pay appropriately, and the fact
Agreed.
that June, is
Wednesday.
okay with the right indentured
You will, when I
servitude
leave.
is not
So
okay.
Wednesday is the
Go up.
FinCom meeting.
I'm going.
Are
to
you?
that, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I just didn't know if you
And
guys were
you'll
gonna be
be
set
there
with us,
too?
so.
I'm
Oh,
gonna be
what time
there.
is
Okay.
that? 7?
7:30.
Oh, I'll hobble down to that one for you. We will
It's-
show
We
up
need
in
to-
force.
Yeah,
We need to
I don't know if
post
they'll be
if-
doing this,
If
but
we're
they'll be there.
if we're talking as a group, we need to post there though.
I'll just go as a silent participant.
Okay.
It'll be a chance meeting, maybe.
Or
Yes, it'll be a chance
citizen-
meeting.
A citizen saying it's horrible how we treat our accountant.
Okay.
So these numbers are all good for you ladies?
Motion to approve.
Oh, seconded.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And if I can get those, I can, the software, now I can have them take it off before they print it.
Yeah, as I said, I looked at that and went, she's using dead software. Why is she using dead
We
software?
use what we have to use.
I understand that, but
'Cause it's still better than doing it manually sometimes.
would you like a packet of pencils for Christmas?
I love pencils. Real pencils, not those screw ones. I like the kind that you have to sharpen.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, my.
All right.
See, I like this kind. All right.
Anything else you need our help with?
Audit?
Audit.
Ah.
Well, I just put the whole pack. Oh, no. Here it is.
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
Well, let me give you a little
Oh, no,
something.
'cause,
just
I mean,
'cause.
it's the audit.
No, currently, you just signed the,
This year's and the last in the.
and that's the last of
cycle.
the contract.
Okay.
It has been brought to my attention by a number of different people. We have been with this, not this exact firm,
Mm-hmm.
but one of the principals in the firm for probably 10, 15 years now. He's moved from different companies and he's started different companies. We haven't had any problems with them. They're very helpful. I can call them whenever, and even with hypothetical questions, they're very good with. But I was asked is if we could get cheaper, because we had the issue come up with the collector, which keep in mind, actually I should probably add to that, because we're gonna have to do another audit
Oh.
when Dennis leaves, because officially the books will be turned over, whether it be him or to somebody else, it doesn't matter where it's going from elected to a different position.
Really? Even though it's the same person?
I don't know
Or if it
100%,
is.
but
Or if it's
We
the
don't
same
know.
person.
if it's the same person, I don't know, but
I wonder
If it's a
there's way
definite,
to- I
absolutely.
wonder if there's a way to get it waived if it's the exact same person.
yeah. So, but we had the issue with a $5,000 there.
Right.
And they wanted to just take it out of this contracted amount and told me to go out for bid to find an auditor that would do the audit for $25,000 instead of the $30,000 that we were paying. So I have been, I had talked to Mary about it as far as going out for bid. God bless you.
Bless you.
And per se with the audit, we don't have to do the whole bidding process, but I still would like to go out and find out if there are cheaper firms out there.
And actually, I think I started asking about that back when I got
Yeah.
on the board, 2016.
I did actually do a little bit and made some phone calls, and it ranges anywheres from, anywheres from 16, 14, 16, up to 38, 50,000. So it all depends on what you have on the books and what's required. The lower amounts are more for towns that don't have any grants, they don't have any loans, they don't have any
That's
projects. We have federal grants. We're not gonna have as many where the school, we're not gonna be And the school will save us about $3,000, not having a school in-house. But we're also gonna have the community preservation coming in, which is like an enterprise fund, which is gonna add onto. So I've gotta try to figure out a way to compare apples to apples and come up with an RFP that matches what we have. So as soon as I get that, I'll let y'all know. So the 31, I'm just throwing in there as a number, and as soon as I know, I may have to ask for a little bit more before
wanna-
it's finalized, but
Are you gonna know by next Monday?
no.
Okay, then.
This is a.
No, so
that's
I
a
just figure if we
Do you
can
want
get
us
this
to-
in, and if I have to, come back once I can get numbers before the actual budget's done,
Okay.
then
All
I'll
right.
just give it to you. But I just want to make sure at least they have, the finance committee has a number to use to, don't come at, I don't want to have just $10,000
Exactly.
left over at the end of the.
They didn't really care for doing a reserve fund transfer, especially when we or no one gave them any information on it.
Yeah.
So, better to do it a different way,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so do you want us to go ahead and approve this at this point?
I would say yes, just so that they
Okay.
can have a number in there for right now, because I don't think, if we come up with 27, I think we're gonna be lucky. I don't think we're gonna see
Right.
much of a lower number, just because of
Well,
what
my
we
guess
have.
is that we contracted 3 years ago, it's gonna go up, but. unless
He
you
said he
find
would, when I
somebody-
talked to
yeah,
him, he said he'd level fund it, and he said that it would probably go down,
Because of the school.
not this coming year, so it would be 30 for next year.
Mhm.
And then he said it would probably go down between $2,000 and $3,000. So.
And then up with the
And
community
then,
preservation.
so could I just ask him for one? I could, but I would feel better if I could at least say I'd, asked around
Asked
to a
around.
few firms to
Yeah,
Okay.
see if that is the right number, because if not,
okay,
maybe it's time for a change.
A motion to approve.
Seconded.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I made me work for just that.
You come prepared.
Just in case.
I know.
Thank you.
Thanks, Miss June.
Alrighty.
Veterans.
Well, you want to do Joe,
Yeah.
since he's back?
Veterans is quicker.
Your turn.
Hello, back up front. Hello there.
Do you have a packet?
We got that settled.
That's good.
Yep. So that's gonna go well. Did you get the newest packages that I brought today?
Mary's pointing to the packet.
Is this it?
She said there's 3.
It should be, one for each of you.
Wait a minute. I think so.
Yours is the signature copy.
I gotcha. You say wow at me.
I got nothing.
Thanks.
I'm all good.
I can pick that up,
Yeah, that microphone.
What?
Right there.
What? Tunnel. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So do you want to begin?
Sure, I can.
Okay.
The first 2 sheets are my budget narrative, as far as what we're bringing in this year, which can be utilized for next fiscal year. The state, pretty much of the union of where the town is at, where we're headed. The request for additional staff and increasing to staff hours, as well as a vehicle. So I have that all listed in here in great detail. The third sheet in is the capital request form for fiscal year 2020. It's set for $40,000 for an inspection vehicle. Vehicle that is a 4-wheel drive vehicle with high ground clearance to access rough terrain associated with construction sites. The vehicle is, I'm not requesting the vehicle to be taken home with me. It'll be just left here for use while in town. The vehicle will provide a practical access to construction sites. It'll also provide a means of identification when arriving to a site for an emergency or just general business. Having a vehicle will also provide a level of professionalism, and the life expectancy of that vehicle is 15 years, typically for this type of purchase. Long-term impact is minimal, with just budgeting for fuel and routine maintenance. That would be looked to be purchased this year, and it would be a one-time fee of the $40,000.
Is this something that's new to capital planning, correct?
Yes, yep. And I submitted a couple weeks ago so that capital planning has looked at this. I have not talked to them yet, so I don't know where that's gonna go, or...
Well, one of the potentials that's also been floated is potentially getting 2 green vehicles for the police officers rather than 1 this year, because they put a lot more miles on, taking their second oldest and moving that over to inspectional services.
Yeah, because last week we sat here and both you and Tim said no new vehicles to the fleet. That's a new vehicle to the fleet.
Yeah, so that was one of the things that was potentially floated, is normally the police rotate and they get 1 new vehicle a year, potentially replacing 2 this year, getting 2 green and
So
moving
would it
over.
still be replacing 2?
Well, it would be,
No.
it would be
Replacing 1.
replacing 2 for them, but taking one of the old ones
And sliding it over.
sliding it over, because he would put much less mileage on it than the police officers do.
And this
if
is
we're gonna
coming
do that-
from, your information is coming from?
Tom Galvin.
Okay.
Yeah, the police chief and I have had conversation of it. I was moving forward with this, if this gets shot down by capital, maybe they'll approve that. If not, then just move on and keep moving.
Well, I mean, my suggestion would be doing mileage instead. You don't do mileage, correct?
No. It's $1,800 a year. That's allotted for mileage. That doesn't pay for fuel or maintenance or tires or anything for my car. So
No, 'cause you're probably just traveling in Little Berlin.
so I'm just like, it for the amount of work it is to keep track of that, to be in this small, it just doesn't make any sense to me. So I just don't do it.
Well, the other piece of that is too, and I don't know whether it's possible, but I know that the fire inspector goes around in a relatively large truck that also eats gas for breakfast.
Mhm.
So
And he's
perhaps this would
gonna-
be something that, would,
I do ride
Also
with
take
him.
off.
I do ride with him often. 1, to prevent wear and tear on my vehicle, but 2, most often is because we're going to inspections
spot.
together. So if we're going to the same spot, there's no sense in taking 2 if we're going back and forth.
So can we remove that from the budget then, if there's a plan B and a plan C?
well, this is capital, so capital would be,
You're asking
making
about removing the
recommendations on
car?
this.
Correct.
Yeah. I'm not sure I'm on board with a car, because besides showing professionalism, I'm not sure there's a need. That's the only thing that I was thinking. And I was concerned about adding to the fleet, whether it's, years ago we used to do like replacements,
Mhm.
and now it seems as though we're adding. So I just want to sort of get some control on that.
Yeah, because when I look at the overall budget, whether it's for you, Joe, or Mr. Roseberry, or Henry, it's significant. 60,000 on one, 40, I think, on another, and
Well, that's paid for by offset receipts, though, right?
I'm not following. What do you mean? 40?
She's talking about,
the amount of
Alan
increases,
Henry's budgets.
yeah, and that's,
Right?
I'm just saying that the
No?
amount of,
am I incorrect, June?
I don't believe it's gonna be, if he's going for the part-time. I haven't seen the I haven't really looked at the budget.
Oh,
Um,
I
but
think we
don't
got a
know if the
misunderstanding
plan
here.
was to continue
Okay.
no, I guess
Using
my,
the offset receipts.
that's fine, but my
For the
overall
next 2
question was
years.
that, the budget is going up $60,000 from last year to this year. And the key word of the day at the budget meeting was frugal. To me, a $60,000 increase isn't frugal. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, maybe I can help. Where are we looking?
Telephone is one of them. It goes from 250 to 1,600.
Yep. So that's the new cell phone I just got.
But that's for next year.
Well, I just purchased it this year, so
Right.
yes, it'll be paid for next year.
Right.
Right.
It'll continue.
Right, yep.
And what line item are we taking it out of for this year?
So I have I have money in my expenses right now that I purchased everything with. And we had money set aside because I also bought the tablets to go with the software program. So I had, that money was all in a line item
Okay.
at that point in time. So we took money out of that to get everything squared away for right away.
Okay.
Yeah.
So another question I had was the uniforms. It goes from 300 to 1,000.
Which department are you looking at? Are you looking at? Yeah, okay, so that was because I'm adding another inspector.
How much are your shirts?
Your shirt's here?
Yeah.
So,
Because wherever you're shopping, Joe, I think you need to start shopping around.
well, it's not so much just shirts, like Al has 6 shirts, Henry has 6 shirts, I have
Does
6
Henry
shirts.
wear 6 shirts?
Well,
Has he cut the arms off? That's all I want to know, and are they camoed?
Henry did take a
Mr.
photo
Roseberry, help me out
of
here.
one.
Well, I could.
Henry did take a photo of, he looks good in them, so. But the other thing that I want to get, which can be costly, and this cost will go down the following year, but I want to get winter safety jackets, rain safety jackets, and summer safety vests that go for each individual inspector. That's at least 9 jackets there, and those are not cheap.
But if there are 9 jackets, I noticed on the other budgets that you also have uniforms, so,
Right.
so it's 1,000 just for you, and then it's 500 for plumbing, and it's also 500 for uniforms, so, or for gas, electrical rather.
Okay, so in the request for 2020 is 2, myself and the other inspector.
So, question on the other inspector.
Yes.
And again, geez, Joe, you run into like the Spanish Inquisition. This is what happens when I do budgets at work.
Sure.
The other person that you're asking for, this is not the 12 to 15 hour guy that somebody else was going to pay for?
It is, so if you look, this is that individual, but moving them to 40 hours.
What happened to them being paid for in part by,
They are. They still are. So if you look at what I'm requesting in the 2020 budget for that individual is $40,494. The remaining portion of their budget is being paid by NRP Group. So if you go to the local inspector with the question marks and everything, it has for fiscal year 20, rate is $39.70 per hour for the total hours for the year of $83,211 for the yearly salary, less the NRP donation of $42,717, which our portion would be $40,494.
and is 83 a going rate for a building inspector?
Yeah,
Is that on the high side?
No, the $39.70 is pretty average for local inspectors these days.
Okay, so
And that's
I'm
at
just
a,
looking
that's at a
back at our
40,
minutes
40-day work week.
from when you came in and talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, well, it says pay rate of approximately $50 an hour, which you said is $39.70.
Right.
It would be 10 to 12 hours a week, or $31,200 a year.
Right, yep. So things have changed since that meeting. The way that I have configured the budget to, one, take care of not only that project, but also to be sustainable in the future with all the extra work that we have going on. The individual that I'm looking to bring on would be full-time as of July 1 of the fiscal year of 2020. So they would be working 18 hours from whenever we hire them now until June 30th. After that, their hours would bump up to 40 hours a week. There would be that one individual that comes on and then they would stay on. The issue that and the reason why I'm looking for that is because right now I'm at a point we're busy and I'm starting to push people out 3, 4, 5 days for inspections because I can't get to them. So with pushing them off,
Is that because you don't have someone from NRP helping you right now?
well, it's not so much NRP because NRP hasn't fully gotten swing. It's just the normal day-to-day stuff
Okay.
right now.
So is there a guarantee where it says less NRP donation? Do we have anything in writing? Because I don't want
Yes,
to.
you should have a letter.
All right, because I don't want to approve it and then all of a sudden we're whacked another $42,000 that
No, this is,
no one has.
Well-
there is a letter, and I think,
I did see
You
a
already
letter,
get-
but I
yeah.
think you signed it. We
Yes.
haven't signed one.
no, I know that. That letter is from Gilmore to myself. Him and I agreed on that, that he will release X amount of funds at the very beginning of the project. Once the first certificate of
Right.
occupancy is issued, he will then give us the second portion of that project, which comes to like 62,000 and however much it is.
62,400 according
Right.
to our minutes.
Yeah, so it's 60, right. So that's what they're paying in total. So over the course of 2 years, our budget's not gonna reflect, it'll reflect a difference in what we pay the individual for the 40 hours minus whatever they're paying us. Does that make sense? Maybe I'm not communicating
No, no,
You
correctly.
know, I guess when we had the conversation about bringing on this person and having NRP pay for it, I wasn't aware that we would need anything further than that.
That we would go up to
until
40.
we saw how it went.
Yeah, and I was under the same understanding until the recent situation has come up over the past couple weeks where I can't get to people in time for inspections. I'm running out of time in a day. So I need an individual that's going to help out doing inspections. For instance, we have the hotel is going to be looking for inspections. We're looking at least 4 8-hour days worth of inspections there. With my current setup for time allotment, we're going to be doing from 4 8-hour days to probably 3 weeks of 2-hour days to get their final inspections done. So
This doesn't start till July 1, though.
I'm not talking
This
about that
budget.
right now.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the hotel.
exactly.
Yeah. So I know that this budget doesn't kick in until July 1.
Right.
However, I can bring on the individual to help with the NRP project for 18 hours a week at $39.70, and that will take them through the remaining portion of this fiscal year to help assist with that project and other projects that we have in town. After July 1, they would go from the 18 hours a week to 40 hours a week at the going rate of $39.70. Their rate won't change. They're just the hours that they work will.
Okay. Are you following this?
Yes.
All right. Good.
Pardon me, there goes my lung. I know last week or the week before, you had talked about training and other things that you need to attend. So I
Yes.
noticed that the meetings doubled and then your training went up from 300 to 2,000. So you're saying that that training is all stuff that you need for your certification
Well, not only for myself, but for the second individual.
for the other person too?
It's everything here has been multiplied,
Doubled.
doubled.
Yeah.
You know, the uniforms this year were 300, next year being 1,000. That's getting shirts and jackets and all that sort of stuff. The code books we had just picked up, and now they're changing the code as of July 1, so I have to buy all new code books.
Yeah, that was a question that I had too, that you didn't have anything for code books this year, but then all of a sudden you had them for next year.
Yeah, because
I'm thinking,
the code books were in fiscal year 18, and I got them in fiscal year 18, which was last fall, and well, now they decided to change the codes this July 1.
3,000? I
Yeah.
thought, I read that first, I thought it was 300. 3,000 for code books? It's not online?
You have to buy them from ICC. and there's about 15 books.
Oofa. And you carry them around?
I have a nice library that I utilize in the office.
Do you need them too?
It's not, yeah, my hope, I haven't bought any this year because they're changing it again, so I haven't bothered, but it's getting harder to go online to find the codes now. They just changed the whole system and it's all screwed up. I went to class yesterday, Saturday, and even the inspector said, the instructor said they have a hard time finding the codes. But
Right now, the state has adopted that every 3 years, they're going to change the code. So
Sounds
that-
like college.
So, yeah.
I did notice in your budget, the new one you sent today,
Yep.
that the numbers were different for the part-time wages too?
For Leanne?
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot to add in, there's 52 weeks and 2 days. I forgot to add in the 2 days.
Ah, okay.
So,
Just curious.
yeah. Her rate stays stays the same. I've increased her hours from 20 hours a week to 24 hours a
Right.
week.
Right,
And that's all due to the influx of work.
right. I think she's also getting her hours increased at ZBA.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So she would be coming in Monday through Thursday, 6 hours a day.
And the same thing for gas. You didn't charge for it this year, but you're expecting 2,500 next year?
Well, that is for if the inspector's vehicle comes on board. So gasoline for the inspector's vehicle for the year would be 2,500. That sort of stuff.
Okay.
And how much was it for uniforms per person?
So-
Approximately?
So I was low here on the uniforms. I anticipated 300 this year. It actually came to 500 this year. I paid a portion because Leanne wanted something. So, and I wanted something, and once everybody got what they wanted, but if I'm bringing in another individual and I still don't have the jackets yet, so
So this is covering the jackets, and this is
the
covering an additional
jackets,
person.
An additional person, yep.
And the travel doubling, 300 to 600?
No, that's just dues.
Oh, that's
Oh,
dues.
dues.
That's
Sorry,
membership
wrong line.
dues. Yeah, so membership dues, and again, that doubles
That
because, yep. And the training went from 300 for myself up to 2,000. I was going to increase it to 1,000 for myself because there are some prime opportunities that are coming up in the next fiscal year for training in other locations. So I had based 1,000 each, again, on the second individual.
Is the training a want or a need?
It's a need.
Okay. Do we go on to the other ones yet, or do we have to like solve this one before we can chug along?
Whatever you,
Alright.
your wish is my command, so.
Oh, Joe, be very careful with that. That's now on camera. I went back through my notes and I either totally fell asleep during a meeting, but for the electrical, on the part-time wages, you're doubling it. And I couldn't find anything. It's from 52,250 in 2019 to 100,000.
Yeah, so
Almost at the end.
both Al and Henry for plumbing and gas and electrical, they're both increased to 100,000. The reason for the increase is due to the NRP project and the current fees that we have in place. So in 2019, no, fiscal year 19, for electrical, let's say, Henry was at 52,250. His electrical fees that came in for the hotel was very, very low. After the fees were reconfigured and looking at it, he did out the total cost of what it's going to be just for the NRP project, and it's over $100,000 for that one particular project for fees, which he gets 75% of, so that puts him at $75,000 for that. Now, if you divide that by the 24 months, you know, he's a bit lower. But if you look at the influx of what we've had coming in on permit fees so far this year, the 100,000, he is very close to what he'll make in fiscal year 20 and in fiscal year 21. So both fiscal year 20 and fiscal year 21 are going to remain the same at 100,000. And then when you go into Al's for plumbing and gas, he goes from the 80,000 to 100,000. Again, if you look at his fees, and he collects 95%, in fiscal year 20 and in 21, he's going to make about 100,000 on each. And that's not just because of those two particular one project there. It's also based off of historical data and the projects that we see coming in the next 2 years. So that's where they get their increases.
June?
Are you keeping it using the offset receipts at 75, 95, or are you gonna do it for the hours?
No, they're offset receipts.
You're gonna keep it, okay.
Yeah, because once this project is done, which is 24 months, we had already discussed and agreed to bring them down to $50 per hour.
Okay, I wasn't sure on when you were gonna,
Yep, that's gonna be after the NRP project is done.
and when do you think that's gonna be done? Ish.
2 years, 20 months, 24 months.
Okay.
Almost, I
Because
think.
with the offset receipts, if it's gonna go over a year, fiscal year, then I have to carry over that money.
It
so-
will. It'll run into 21.
Okay.
So I notice you get training, Mr. Roseberry gets training,
Mm-hmm.
but Henry doesn't get training,
He does.
but it's not here.
Okay, well, I know he has to go.
Yeah. And I
Well, I just want to be consistent across the board. I mean, if you're getting it in your budget and it's in your budget, where's Henry?
yeah, well, I've asked Henry, and he says, well, I just don't know what I'm gonna be training on, or when I'm gonna train.
But doesn't he need training to keep his license?
Well, that's what my question was to him, because I told him last year fiscal budget didn't have you for any training whatsoever. He's like, well, just carry it over. And I said, well, Henry, what about your training? He's like, it's okay, it works out. Well,
Don't you need certificates that training is completed, so if something comes back, you can say they're all licensed and good?
I do need that.
If you don't have your training, you cannot be an inspector.
If Henry can't get, if Henry doesn't give me the information on how much it costs for his training, I can't budget his training.
But then you can't use them, because he's
Well,
not,
he has to maintain his license. If he has his license, then I can utilize him. But if, you know what I mean? Like, in order for me to maintain my licenses, I spend a lot of money and a lot of time.
correct.
So, I'm sure Henry wants to maintain his license and his certification, so he spends money and time somewhere.
So does he just not turn that in?
He,
I would think that
So-
it's mandatory, that it should be turned in.
No, I mean, like,
No.
he just doesn't ask for
No, 'cause
reimbursement?
they didn't actually have expenses until just recently. Before, the way that they were paid, they covered their own expenses.
Okay.
So the town keeping their pay the same way, but giving them additional money for expenses is new, or over the past 3 years, 4 years.
4 years.
so,
Okay.
it started before.
Before
I
you
came
got
on
here.
board.
Always uses money.
Yeah. In my understanding prior to me, this is my first time doing a budget for them. And prior to that, as far as I know, Leanne had told me that she was just asked to fill them in for them, instead of them doing it. So, I contacted, said, hey, and they said just carry it over. So,
So,
I mean, this is something that I'll need.
some way, shape, or form, it will be taken care of?
Yeah.
Well, I would think it'd be part of the job description that you have to take X amount of training to maintain X amount of certification. If you don't, then you're out. I mean,
So I mean, he has to keep his master's electrical license and certifications and everything in order to be an inspector. So if he's paying out of pocket and he's not looking for reimbursement, that would be the only reason why it wouldn't be in a budget line item.
And he does
But-
electrical work other than the inspector's work too, right?
Oh, yeah.
So he has to keep that up for that too?
Yeah. Just to be a licensed electrician, you have to, Yeah.
I think that's in the past, that's kind of why they didn't get reimbursed or didn't have expenses.
because it just wasn't town stuff, you could use your license elsewhere.
Okay. So, any other questions?
There was one, now I gotta find out where it is. There was a line item that you said, and I just wrote down contracted services with a question mark, because,
Okay.
What are they?
yeah,
Yeah.
because there's $14,000 of them, so I,
Yeah, so the contracted services, $14,100. That is for our permitting software program.
it's not working yet.
Well, we've paid them to help us set it up right now, so, once it's up and
And
running.
you have to have a maintenance fee.
Right.
And this is
And-
where our infamous list of licenses will come from and checklists, so that,
Yeah,
Okay.
it's electronic, so everything will be in there.
I have a question for you, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Just curious why you,
So, Kohler is 2.25%.
oh, okay. I mean, either
Right.
way, it's gonna work out the same, correct?
Right, that's why Kohler is mandatory. So I can't say I'm not getting Kohler, but I'm getting a general step of 3.5. So to play fair, I put 2.25 COLA and 1.25 step increase. Gives me the 3.5.
but it's not really, it's not a step. I mean,
Otherwise, it looks like you're giving me 3.5 COLA, which,
No, it was supposed to be an adjustment.
yeah, so it's not really,
No, it would be just a grade step or adjustment. Would have
Right.
been under that category. Just curious, what, you know.
well, because if I did 3.5 there, then I'd have to add the 2.25% COLA to the 5.75.
no, it's not 5, it's 3.5.
No,
flat.
I know that. That's why I'm saying that the COLA doesn't go away. Everybody gets COLA.
I think if they get a price adjustment or a salary adjustment,
Check the general law.
okay.
Everybody gets COLA. So I left COLA in there, and then I just adjusted it to 1.25%, so it equals out to 3.5%.
Okay,
So it's still the 3.5%. It's just done the right way.
all right.
I mean, I can understand why you do it to get the math, but at the same time, somebody's gonna look at this a year from now when we've all hit the lottery and we're no longer here, and they're gonna be like, oh, well, that information doesn't equal that information, so where does that come from? I just wanna make sure that we're consistent across the board. And again, I know it's a nitpicky thing, but dealing with a multi-million-dollar budget at work, I'm very much aware of nitpicky, and somebody goes through this like a June and says, oh, where is this number coming from?
Okay. So corporate world, public and private, completely different.
When it comes to a budget.
When it comes to this, it is. When it comes to raises, everybody gets a cost of living adjustment. It's not considered a raise, it's a cost of living adjustment. And it's per hour pension. So it's not, so the 2.25% is because we pay directly into our pension. We don't, you guys don't pay for our pension, we do. We pay 11% in.
All right.
So that's a wash for us. When they do the COLA, it's a complete wash for us. If we get a step or a merit increase, which we can get, that's where we get our money. So when a COLA comes out and says everybody gets 2%, let's say, that means everybody that's full-time that pays into a full-time pension gets 2% across the board. Now, if you get a change with your pay grade or a merit increase or a step increase, that's in addition to the COLA. And I think that's where some individuals that work in private sector have a difficulty with the public sector. And so, in trying to be fair, because COLA isn't wiped out for some people and allowed for others, COLA's across the board. You guys just wanted me to go up to 3.5%. So what I did to adjust that to the 3.5% was just say that I got 1.25 step.
Okay. I mean, you're not the only one though, so
What?
that got the 3.5 or a salary adjustment.
No,
So it's not going to be done this way in theirs. That's what Peg's saying.
Mhm.
Okay, that,
So
all right.
we'll, yeah, I'll talk to personnel about it.
Okay, because I think that's something that may have to be defined.
Okay.
And there was
All
one more
right.
question. Hang on. Hold, please. The NRP, can we get a copy of that letter, or that you can get a copy of
Yeah,
that
I
letter so
already,
that we show it to...
actually,
you already
everybody,
have it?
you all have
I
it.
thought it came
Okay.
in email, didn't it?
It came in an email, I gave a hard copy to Mary, and I gave one
All
to
right.
So
June.
many iterations of this budget, but it was in, I think, the second one.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we have it, so that we're locked in, that there is a promise to pay,
Well, if
and
Joe
we're
can
not going
bind
to get
the-
hit.
If Joe can bind the town in that regard.
Well, we're the ones who probably need to sign off on something to bind us.
Okay.
But, and it will come to us at some point.
Yeah, right.
Before the person starts?
Oh, well, yeah, well, yeah.
Are they
we have
gonna
Well,
to.
yeah, I can't,
Are they gonna be classified
What?
with the job description that goes to personnel?
Well, we have to go, we would have to go through the whole process the way we do when we hire someone.
Yes, that was Joe's intention, was
Yeah.
to
right, yeah.
go through all that, and he can't hire the person until the money's in-house, so.
Right.
But it
he
would
knows that.
determine the pay rate.
So what is the board thinking?
Well, I mean, I'm not comfy with the car, but I know that that's not our decision.
Yes, it can be.
With that, I guess, I know that you guys don't exclusively share, but I would like to see an inspectional services vehicle that crossed the board for both fire and building, and potentially did come from an older police vehicle.
What about,
And get rid of the truck.
the fire marshal get rid of his truck and get
That's-
something to
I mean-
replace it?
Well, I think I'd still rather see the two green vehicles for police, shove one of theirs over and,
Well, isn't that adding a vehicle, though? If you just take
well, not if you
Dave's
get rid
truck
of if you get rid of the truck.
get rid of that.
Take one of the police vehicles and give it to inspectional services that includes fire.
Yeah,
So no, that's not, because you already have this stupid truck. I'd get rid of the truck, make that vehicle available to both Joe and David.
and do it as a replacement.
But that would be
Of
up to the
Joe's
fire
truck.
department.
Of the-
That would be up to the fire department. Right,
Yeah.
I would assume, because that's their vehicle.
I think it's that's, I mean.
It's a conversation that
Yeah.
I
perhaps
think
we need to have.
I'd like to talk about it.
Yeah.
Um,
You want to talk about it when we talk with Paul?
Sure.
Okay.
Because I look at your budget, and it's an increase from last year of almost $129,000, rounding up. Again, I know it's adding people, I know it's leveling out pay for fees. It's just a gigantic chunk
Mhm.
of money that I keep going back to Buzz, going frugal.
No, and I understand that, and I understand, I guess the biggest thing is I understand the needs of the town and the needs of the department in order to provide good customer service. And that's where I'm basing the decisions off of. That and the fact that we're gonna bring in $775,000 this year in new revenue. And then, I mean, heck, by the time you pay for the entire department, car and everything, you're still gonna bank $500,000. Unless you want to do something else with the 500,000, I don't know.
Yeah, well.
But you know what I mean? I just like,
Yeah.
I thought
Maybe
at
give
least.
June a raise.
Right.
We-
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and our job is to try to be a little bit frugal and use
Yeah,
common
yeah. sense
in order to support the taxpayers and their needs.
Yeah, yep.
So, I have to say that I would make a motion at this point to not approve the car.
I would second that approval, that motion.
Now, I know that that's capital, though.
Yeah, that's capital, and I also.
It might be a
think,
heads up.
I'd just leave it there, or leave it just sort of open until we talk to,
Well,
but yeah.
okay, I mean, I
That's not
can,
even, yeah, like I said, that's capital, I'm not sure why that's not strictly supposed to be
we
in
can
this
still,
budget, is it?
yeah, we can still disapprove or approve of the capital before it goes to FinCom. And then have a discussion with Paul and see what are the other alternatives.
Yeah.
So I made the motion.
I seconded it.
Did you second it?
I did.
All right.
I'll second it
Does
again.
Anything else need to be said? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That was to not approve the car.
Okay, so,
Yes.
Pardon me?
That was unanimous. Thank you.
all right, so I scratched the 2,500 out of the summary for gasoline,
Okay.
and then the 40,000 for the car.
So, yes, that's separate. That's not in the budget, right?
Right.
Gotcha.
I'm just saying,
I
but,
mean, you're still, if we end up doing something, there's still gonna be gas.
Correct.
So.
right, so,
That's why I was kind of wondering if we needed to sort of hold off until we have all the pieces and players for the conversation.
so how do,
I don't know, what do you think? Should we, how many more budgets do we have coming?
Way too many.
I know, and we only have one more meeting.
So bring your coffee and tea next week, because we're gonna be here for a while.
I mean, I hate to put off this decision for a week, because I know that there's more coming.
no.
That was gonna be my suggestion. But
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping that we could come to a resolution tonight. If you want me to pull the car from capital planning for 40,000, then I would scratch the $2,500 that went along with it for
Right.
gasoline.
Right.
Aside from the vehicle in that $2,500, are you okay with the rest of my budget?
I'm a little uncomfortable with the additional person in the budget. I wasn't prepared for that, I guess, and I was misreading your budgets when you sent them, not realizing, I thought it was the NRP person you were talking about.
It is, I'm not looking for a third person.
So this 12 hour
Oh, it's an additional
person
hours now.
turns into 40.
Right,
Right.
Right.
Yes, it's additional hours
Same
in
person.
addition to, right,
Right,
in addition to what NRP was gonna support.
correct.
It's more hours than that.
Correct. Therefore, it's 40,000 back to the town that we need to pay.
Right.
Right, but it's, I just want to make sure nobody thinks I'm looking for two new inspectors. That's not
No.
what I'm looking for. I'm looking for whoever comes on to start assisting with this project, stays on, and their hours increase.
So all this money that we're getting, does it offset any of this, or just does it go into like general
The building.
bucket of money?
The building inspection fees, net.
Right,
That goes into the general fund.
okay.
So technically, our revenues are gonna go up.
So it kind of sort of offsets it, but not really.
Not direct,
Not directly, yeah.
except for the offset receipts for the, for plumbing and gas and electrical, if he's gonna keep it that way, and that's what it sounds like he's doing. I was under the impression he was gonna just do hourly next year. But if he's gonna keep the offset receipts, then technically, if he's asking for 100,000, then we would appropriate 100,000 from offset receipts, but it's only spent if it comes in. So if Al only brings in 50,000, he's only gonna get paid 95% of 50,000.
Even though we're budgeted for 100.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, that's the
Yeah.
way that offset receipts works.
right.
Okay.
And if, like,
The only problem we would have is if we budgeted for, say, 50,000 and 100,000 comes in, now we've gotta come up with the additional 50 that we've gotta pay him.
So it's better to go high and
Yes.
potentially come in low
Yes,
than.
as long as we're just paying them at the same 95, 75, then we're never gonna go over.
and that's the way
What's right.
it's set that for plumbing and electrical and gas. Yeah.
So on paper, it looks like it's an increase, but it's really not.
Technically, for pay,
It's a placeholder.
it's a wash
Okay.
for the plumbing and gas and the electric.
That's why I thought I seriously
So it's
fell
just the
asleep when I saw,
expenses.
somebody going from 40 to 100, and I'm like, oh.
Because it-
Start paying more close attention in those
Well,
meetings.
they,
How did that get through?
they are getting paid that.
Correct.
And
But-
like Joe said,
yeah.
though, is that he is gonna have a larger amount of building
Right.
permits coming in, so there is gonna
Right.
be
Okay.
funding coming in because the workload's going up,
Yep.
so the permits are going up.
And because when you were saying I'm up 120,000, I'm like scratching my head, because I'm looking at this and I'm only up 60,000 from last year.
Right.
So I was trying to figure out where this 120 grand was coming from.
Oh, those are all your totals.
Oh.
So the changes, I was adding up all the changes from
Oh,
last year to this year, and it came up with 100 and...
Oh, between plumbing, gas,
something,
electrical,
something,
and...
yes.
Okay.
Everybody, not just you.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
All right.
Do you happen, you may not even have this number, but just from last year to this year, how much more did inspectional services bring in?
Bring in
Yeah, I'm just curious.
roughly $600,000 more. If you look at, for example, fiscal
Last year
year...
to this year?
Yeah, so if you look at fiscal year 2020, right, the total pay for myself, another inspector, Leanne's extra hours, and all the caveat that's here, comes to $191,232. The permit fee that NRP just paid for the building permits, that isn't usable until next year, was $334,000. So just off of that one permit, you paid for the entire department for an entire year, and on top of that, banked money.
Right,
You
it does
know what I
go
mean?
into the general fund.
Right. Well,
However, but
right, it's not like
a way
I-
for the
yeah.
town to make some money, not necessarily just for the building.
No, that's not what I mean. I'm just,
Right.
I guess
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say is,
No, I get it.
there's a lot of money coming in,
Yes.
Do you
and,
know the numbers from 18 to 19 even? How much things have increased just from 18 to 19?
I'd have to look, but I know it's over 100,000. I know it's over 100,000, because we're doing about 200 and change or so in permitting fees, 250,000, right, currently. And now with the new fee structure in place and these larger projects starting to come through, it's a lot more money coming in at a lot higher rate, so.
So I'm just curious, percentage of work increase from last year from 18 to 19, percentage of work, if there's a...
So percentage of workload, you mean?
Yeah, can you quantify that? I think it might be easier.
I would say there's probably currently, at this time of the year, maybe 50% more work than there were last year.
Okay, so 50, and next year would be even more because of the apartments.
Right, it's getting more. Like the apartments, once those start getting inspected, you're looking at probably, 3-4 hours a day there. You know, we might end up having somebody just set up shop because of the way they're talking about building. There's 21 buildings that they want to do in 20 months. So there's going to be a lot of inspections just ongoing. So, and that's not including all the other work we have in town. That's just that one project.
Well, and like you said, building inspections, there are lulls and
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
on and so forth. I mean, and that's why I wasn't sure, you know, if you could quantify the work, then I might be able to better understand the additional hours for
Mhm.
the additional person.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard for me, and probably hard for the public even, without quantifying the
Mhm.
work. Knowing, if they've lived in town for a long time, they know. We've had a part-time building inspector until we brought you on as a
Mhm.
full-time building inspector.
Yep.
And then, now, you know, we need to increase the number in the office, and,
Mhm.
you know, it may be hard to understand, so you
Yeah.
might have to figure out a way, perhaps, to quantify.
Yeah, I mean, I can
Yeah.
always probably do something that, like 19 Carter or something, and let people know we're in a building boom here in town, and we got a lot going on.
Right.
And I think it's hard for some people. I know it would be for me, being in town for so long,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden this like small, quaint little town that I've been used to forever, all of a sudden has
Only
this
built
building.
12 houses a year.
Right, yeah, it's now like
know.
36 houses in a year or more.
Right.
You know, it's hard to wrap your head around that.
It is.
And,
It is.
and, you know, I'd be more than happy to set something up where I can talk to people and let them know about what we got going on in town, because we got a lot going on.
Yeah.
So, sure, that's something I can do.
Okay. So what's your pleasure, ladies? I'm gonna let one of you make
Can't
the
say it
motion
on-
this time.
I can't say it on camera, but, you know, just say it. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, I mean, given that we've pulled out the car, given June's explanation about, it's kind of sort of a wash, but not really, accounting-wise. With the growth, potential growth that's coming in.
So this is, here I go asking a question now. This, the 40,000,
Is what the
Is the new
town,
person.
yes, and it's for how many hours the town is paying for?
this being fiscal year 20, which would be...
32 minus, 40 minus 32 would be 8 hours, something, if it's a 40-hour
No.
person.
So, as of July 1 of next year,
Yes.
19, right? As of July 1 next year, they would go to a 40-hour work week,
Mm-hmm.
straight
But they
through.
were gonna pay for 32 of it.
No, they were gonna pay for 18.
Oh,
They're
that's
paying
right.
for
10
18.
What am I thinking?
Right,
So
so,
that's
Your budget
22.
went from 32 to
That's
40.
22
Right.
hours.
Right.
So, yeah,
Right,
22
right,
more
so,
hours.
so the way it is
So
is
it's
set up,
22 more hours.
so if you, yeah, so if you set
All
it up right
sorry,
now...
my mistake.
No, that's quite all right. I want to make sure that everybody understands,
Yeah.
you know? So, they would come on, say, January 1 of this year. That leaves them still in fiscal year 19,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, they would work 18 hours a week at the same rate, $39.70 an hour, for 18 hours a week until July 1. And then in July 1, their 18 hours a week would go to 40 hours a week at the same pay rate. And then that would keep them straight through the whole fiscal year at that rate. With that happening, NRP is going to give us $42,717 towards their salary.
Now, we wouldn't be able to pay our portion of this person until
Fiscal year.
NRP has given us, and we have found someone.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's going to be January, but
Well, no, that's when I would post.
right,
Is in January
Right.
and hopefully find somebody soon.
right.
You know, that's the key. But
Just one more quick question. Would you anticipate that after the 2 years, after NRP finishes, would we still need a another 40-hour person, or would that drop back, do you feel?
it's hard to project that far into the future.
I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
Look, I mean,
Curious.
I would say keeping somebody, yes. 40 hours, probably not.
Okay.
To be honest with you, you know, having somebody, knocking them from a 40-hour position down to maybe a 20-hour position. But just looking at what I see for work coming up, work that's being discussed, and just looking at like a 5-year trend, I would say after the NRP project is done, unless we have something really big and booming coming on after that, I think their hours could drop back. But I think we are at a point where we need to investigate at least getting a second inspector on board, a local inspector on, definitely full-time for the NRP project. To also not just for NRP, but for other projects that we have going on in town, to make sure that I can do inspections, they can do inspections, we can still continue to do our 110s and 304s and everything else that we're supposed to do. Maintain office work. There's a lot of stuff to do.
How many building inspectors does Boylston have?
I don't know. I don't know how many Boylston has.
Well, they don't have a lot of building going on, but
No.
I'm assuming one.
I know Hudson's got 2, Clinton's got 2.
Yeah, I'm not sure even Clinton
I know
has the amount of
Northborough-
building we have going on right now.
I know Northborough has 2 part-time guy and a full-time guy. Marlborough, of course, has got a bunch of them.
Okay.
I'm gonna motion to approve the rest of the budget. Peg has something.
Peg always has questions, you know
Well, not
that's...
questions, do you have, I mean, what would you do, what would you do instead?
Bye, Mr. Roseberg. No, Lisa, I mean, I agree. It's just that
Good to see you.
I just need to question to understand, that's all.
I'm just,
No,
I just
and-
wanna see where we are at this point. I'd kinda like to, it's 9 o'clock, so I'd kinda like to go
Skip it along?
somewhere.
Okay, all right. I
Let's do
will-
something.
All right, I will,
I'm willing to say if we can get through.
No, I mean, we'll figure out the car later, figure out gas later.
Yeah, we took
I
the,
mean, right,
we
but-
voted the car off the
Right.
table for now.
All right, so then as is,
Less the gasoline.
Yes.
yeah, minus the gasoline that someone's gonna have to pay for. I mean, it's still a big increase, but given the amount of work that's coming in, I can live with it and second it.
Okay, anything else to be said? Nope. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
No.
And
I'll
you
say
need to-
no.
You need to be prepared to go to finance
Yep.
and explain this.
Yeah.
In
Get the
detail.
revenue part of it, too.
Yeah.
What's that?
Finance,
In fact,
get all the revenue
I would,
stuff together.
I
Yeah.
would send this description over to them.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Rather than later.
Yeah, I can do that.
That was all 3 budgets.
That was all 3 budgets, I
Yeah.
believe, was it not?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to cross out gasoline at this point, because that's what we agreed to.
Yep.
Um, And you know what? I think I'll let somebody else do the math, unless you
For
want to
what?
do it.
Would you like to borrow my giant
We'll just,
calculator?
we'll just subtract 2,500 from the bottom line here. That's all you need to do.
I promise I'll double check it, too.
You gonna double check my math?
Sorry.
57,494. I did. I
Oh, okay.
subtracted it.
All right. So it would be,
New total is 57,494. And I will even add it back to see if it, because, our math teachers from Tohoto would have us add it back in to see if it balanced.
Oh my
And it comes
gosh.
up with, yes,
All right.
59,994.
And then the total for the 191, 232 minus the 2,500 is, I just want to make sure I have it down right.
We can all share in my father's giant calculator.
it must have been something they gave away.
I think it was. It showed up as some sort of
my,
donation that I'm
yes.
sure my father paid like $50 for.
I got one of those from my mom too when she passed away.
Yes.
Is it just, oh, it's all 3 signature pages, okay.
So that's 188, 732.
Say that again?
188, 732.
All right.
But we're good with the increase in Leanne's hours and that, too. Okay. Perfect.
She'll be in on Fridays now, or she's still Monday?
No, she's gonna be doing Monday through Thursday, but 6 hours a day instead of 4. There you go.
Thanks, Joe.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, if
What was-
Only
if it goes
it's
through,
approved
everything
at
goes
town
through.
meeting.
Only if it's approved at town
It has to
meeting.
make it through finance also.
It's gonna go through
So,
finance.
yes,
So,
you have more hoops.
And I am not to meet with capital, correct? Don't meet with capital on the car.
You don't need to.
I don't-
But, I'm going to go to I'm going to Finance Committee on Wednesday night,
Okay,
so I can fill them in if
Okay.
you'd like, and,
Okay.
what we decided to do.
you mean as far as the car or the everything?
I can, because Dave will be
Okay.
there.
Okay, all right. All right, and I will,
I
I'll,
mean, he needs to know there's still a discussion about just how to maybe
okay,
do something.
all right.
Yes, yes, I can fill them in on that too.
Okay. Well, thank you.
All right,
Thanks, Mr. Joe. Appreciate all your help.
No problem.
all right, I think I got them all.
Have a good night.
It'll be morning by the time we get done, but thank you.
Nope, did not.
See you in a couple hours.
Can you bring like snacks next Monday? Because I have a feeling that we're gonna be here. You're gonna have to nap.
Well, I'm dragging. I went to a concert last night.
Oh,
Yeah, I went to Mumford and Sons last night.
You were out on a
Which was
school
fantastic.
night. Just saying.
That'll teach you.
Totally,
Mhm.
totally worth it.
all right. Can I possibly maybe take this with me or get a copy of it to take with me to the Finance Committee meeting?
Yeah,
All right.
I'm putting all the budgets now in a drive.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did see that today.
If it's approved, the budget, if it's approved, I'll get it for finance committee for Wednesday. They'll have a copy of it.
Yes, yes. That's why I was thinking. All righty.
Veterans Affairs?
Veterans Affairs.
So, it's appalling that we haven't been paying this man minimum wage.
Well, he's a shared person with Bolton.
Okay.
And I don't know, it's some kind of an agreement. Am I correct, Mary?
Well, it doesn't benefit him, this agreement. The agreement was that the town we'd both be paying wages, but that the town of Berlin, since it's housing him, would pay for his room and board, the expenses, but not any more in pay. So
Mm-hmm.
even when you add them together, he's not making minimum wage between the two towns.
So is this what the adjustment is?
That would be what he's asking for is Berlin's adjustment.
A minimum wage? Or something?
He has a calculation in there at the very last end of his narrative.
Oh, because I only got
Keep going.
this page.
There was a whole
Yeah, but
narrative
keep going,
that
there's
went
more.
with it.
Yeah, and I only got
Yeah.
that page too, that's why I shot the question back, why
Yeah.
did it jump? So I never got the wording, I just got that
That's
page.
possible.
I
Was it
don't
a-
see how it was all together.
Oh, then maybe
we
I didn't page down.
Maybe we didn't scroll down far enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I totally,
All right.
Don't shake your head. Yeah, don't judge. Do not judge.
All right. So is that what he's asking for?
Yeah, 7956.
Okay.
Yeah, that is sad.
It is sad.
All right.
But I wonder if there's more to it. I wish I'd had a chance to read it.
I have to put in that at one time, we didn't have any veterans. That
It seems like he's
actually
awfully busy
did-
lately.
No,
When he was
did-
hired.
When they first started.
yeah, and he says, when he
had
started,
very
there
few.
weren't any, and he says now there
Now
are.
And he's
Right.
also spending a ton of time helping people, even if they don't qualify for benefits. He's helping them, find whatever.
And I can tell you,
can
he
to
was a
help.
great help when my dad died. I was in that office more often than I care to be, so,
And he gives the time.
yep.
Do you know whether Bolton has given him
No, I don't have
like
Bolton's
an
budget.
upgrade?
He's
And
just,
I don't know what
whether
he
he
does for
mentioned it.
Bolton Either, I don't know if he's got a lot of people in Bolton.
I mean, I'm just asking because it would be nice if they were doing the same.
Yeah,
he's
but
just
that's
trying to
up
make
them.
purely a Berlin argument, let Bolton,
Let Bolton
Bolton's gonna do what
duke
Bolton
theirs out.
does, but,
Well, it is an agreement. That's what I'm a little
there is no written agreement.
no written agreement.
His offer letter from 11 just says that you shall do 20 hours and under a week.
For both towns?
No,
Oh,
for
for
this
Berlin?
town. That was this town's appointment letter.
Well, I just hate to do something I would regret. I want to do right by the guy, but I just,
this, yeah. I guess this is a guy who's been doing this for almost
Oh, yeah.
no increases for,
right, it's been,
How many
it's been a
years?
COLA, I think, most years, or all years, I don't know.
Which really doesn't amount to much.
Well,
Right.
not just a
Was
COLA, a stipend, not an hourly
Yeah.
wage, not classified, not getting
No,
any more than
not
a
a COLA
library
even?
page.
So I thought
Getting
there was a
less
COLA.
than half of what a
Yeah.
library page gets to alphabetize books and put them away.
Oof.
All right, so,
I make a motion to approve.
second.
okay. All in favor?
I
Aye. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Then it's Maya Insurance's.
Yeah, the next one, yeah, is number 5, Meyer Insurance, FY 2021 renew proposal, 0% rate change.
Yep.
And then B, updated real property
They have
valuations.
purple stickers on them, Chris, so I don't know if you're there yet or not. Yep, the next,
This one?
yep, that's
I know,
it.
I'm just holding this off because did we talk about it?
No,
Yeah,
we
we
didn't.
did. Yeah, we did.
Oh, yeah, you're gonna go talk to them about it.
This one, right?
There's 2,
Yeah, it says signed.
so that one needs to be signed in duplicate, the one in your left hand, and the one in your right hand is just one signature.
Okay.
The one in your left hand is just saying that they're gonna hold our rates the same for 2020 and 21.
Yep,
not including the fact that you can increase the fleet or add buildings or whatever. But anyhow, the rates are gonna
Yes.
remain the same by signing that letter. It was actually due last Monday. I met with the Maya woman. She explained why that needed to be signed last Monday. So she's gonna be able to hold our rates, even though it's coming a week late.
okay.
And then in your right hand is just a restatement of the policy of the property values for this building and BMS.
Okay,
So while both values have gone up quite a bit since the last time they were valued, BMS's value is gonna start being shifted for an insurance purpose to the region.
right,
You're still gonna pay for it through the assessment, but it's
Mhm.
not gonna be part of the town's policy. Or at least that's what she's recommending, because the town's still gonna own the building. So she's gonna, Maya is also the region,
Yeah.
and Maya is also Boylston.
do we
So
also
these
have
two- Conference call.
yeah,
It hasn't been scheduled.
oh, okay, because I have it on my calendar about
Well, she
taking,
was throwing out a tentative date, but I don't know,
Okay.
I don't think that Rob Connery or Boylston
All
agreed
right.
to a date and time yet.
all right, well, let me know. All right, so do I hear a motion to approve both these documents?
Motion to approve.
Yep.
She
Need
seconds.
some water?
Yep.
All in favor?
Thank you, Barry.
Aye.
Aye.
And a cough.
Oh, are we gonna lose you before then?
No. Thank you, ma'am. You're the bomb. Thank you. My not cool.
All right. Now we're on to the LLA Annual Report to ABCC.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You all get to sign this one.
Thank you.
And this one is the bulk license renewal certification.
So that's confirming that everybody's renewing their license for 2019, except for Liquor Barn, which was revoked at the state level.
Right.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Do we need
Signing
to
right next to
sign
your
it?
name.
Really? We have to
Yep.
sign right next, or how about over here?
Oh, they gave you a box at the Target.
Just stick it
I
in
did-
there. Print
My
small.
name is bigger. All right. Wait and see if she can fit Margaret in there.
I can scribble.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Clerk is short too. You got more space.
Yeah, clerk is short. Watch this.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't need your title.
Just note I have room to spare.
Oh, look at you.
That's right.
Saying?
You write I
Motion
quit.
to approve.
What?
all the
You write I quit
licenses.
in there?
Yeah. Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there just the three of them, or is there more?
There's three
There's-
today.
Okay.
Riverbridge, Village Cafe and Pizza, and Cinnabest. Cinnabon.
So, motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're cooking with gas now.
Huh?
We're cooking with gas. Thank you.
feel like this
Those
is,
over here in the folder here, but
I feel like this is like the peace treaty signing. We're all flipping papers.
yep,
All right, do you want this? Do you want the renewal ones too?
sure.
And that one too?
Yep,
Okay. And then the rest you have to sign.
right. All right. Okay, prioritization of the FY20 state legislative funding requests. Have you got yours up?
I'm not
Oofa.
sure where this one even is. So what do we have?
You've got-
I couldn't even begin to figure that out, so I just dropped it right in there.
Yeah,
It's not for me to filter that, so.
even when I read it, I
Hmm.
didn't quite get it.
I don't think they quite realized
One of
that
those
we were
four.
asking for monetary requests.
It's not just
This is
monetary, it's
but
also
this is-
legislation.
Right.
I mean,
He may want to
So
just
we
send
can-
this in a letter.
yeah, I think that should come from the accountant.
You mean
Or
the-
he can.
you mean the
Or, sorry,
treasurer.
the treasurer, and he can, not the accountant, sorry, June. He can,
Yeah.
we can add it,
Or-
his letter to
Or
our
if
stuff.
he puts together a letter, then, and wants us to support it,
Yeah.
just draft a letter and
But like
send
I
it to
said,
us.
even tack it on as
Right.
something we'd like him to work on, but yeah, I'm not going there.
Yeah. So the other ones were the Agricultural Commission, I believe.
Okay, and they got
This
one
new
last
one.
year, which means probably would,
This is the highway, the solar array, which I think is a little low, the numbers.
they could do
Yeah,
it
we
in
actually-
stages though if.
It's not updated. That number was from Keith.
Right. Is there another, there's another, oh, well, here it is, solar panels atop the highway facilities. Solar canopy, but he doesn't have a cost. He probably wouldn't know.
No, and does not have time to get a quote, an appropriate quote. Well, Amy might have something, but we don't have time to do that if this needs to go in.
Well, he was looking for, I think, ideas, but then actual hard data by the end of January.
Yeah. This one is the one fulfilled. This is,
This one should be a higher priority this year, probably.
is this an old one?
This is, they asked for this last year,
April.
Okay.
when we asked
Have they
for
already done these
legislative-
things, though?
the-
Restoring, plastering?
Oh, yeah, I thought this was the one. I thought they were gonna ask for stuff for the
They didn't.
driveway.
They didn't
Oh.
answer.
They didn't? Okay. So, yeah, that's
Apparently not. That's an old one, I think.
Well,
Here's the van.
yeah, I would say we need the van and we need the library. The library has gotta go somewhere up near the top.
Well, I would also,
Well.
I think that we need to save some money with the energy for the West Street highway barn. That electricity's
Going through the
going
roof.
through the roof. So, and they didn't really, did they actually put renovation in there? When I was reading it, they kept talking about water and septic and, I'd have to look back at the email, but,
I think we kind of need to decide what is going on with that before we ask for money. We don't even have a plan yet.
right.
For the wellness trail?
No, for the library, we don't
Oh.
actually have a plan yet.
No, and I had reached out to Joe and Dave a couple weeks ago and asked them, because they said with the weather, they didn't want to go They weren't leaning towards the tiny tank, but they were trying to get somebody in, and with the
Tight
weather.
tank.
Tight.
Yeah, tiny tank.
I know.
Tiny tank.
You're banned from coming to these meetings. But the.
I won't vote for that.
A tiny tank? I'm sorry.
Janet can come heckle you whenever she wants.
Well, then we get the
She
Bullard House
saved my
too.
butt the other day.
I haven't said a word.
She stopped. If you had not stopped and that would have happened, I would have been like galloping down the road for far longer than I wanted to. This big truck came. Janet came and let me cross the street, and this big truck came, and I got just past the truck, and they went ka-wham, and my horse just.
Took off.
Oh yeah, it was. But had she not, I mean, we could have ended up going straight, or yeah, it would have been very bad.
All right, here's Barry's, the Bullard House.
And do we have?
We
do
need-
we know?
we need
Do we
more.
have a plan? Because that's
I
another
think-
one that seems like no plan.
I think maybe we, in general, because I don't know that $85,000 is going to do it.
That's not gonna do it. Are you kidding? That's gonna replace like a wall.
I think that's
Well,
what
that's
they're
what he's asking
is
for.
A
Yeah.
wall.
There is 50,000 in mitigation money sitting there for the bathroom in the, actually, it
Yeah.
was more than that.
Oh,
But
Yeah, it
yes.
was
there's
50.
the floor and the, yeah, I have a good
85.
sense.
So that'd be 130,000,
That just seems awfully low. You can blow through 130,000 easy peasy,
right?
and that building's old.
Well, I would like that to be on the list, but I
Yeah.
just don't know that that number's going to do it. So I'm thinking, I mean,
Maybe
what
for a
you-
feasibility study as to what's really needed there.
true, that's true. So,
Before you lose it.
right. What do you think, girls?
Well,
Something for the Bullard House, the senior van?
Not my tight tank, my tiny tank?
No, no tiny
No
tank.
tiny tank? Okay.
And the solar, maybe?
You can't go to the bathroom in the library anymore. Don't come looking at me. Just saying.
How's that sound?
yeah.
3.
Yeah, those are
Highway
the top
solar,
three.
council on aging van, and the library water septic issue.
No
No.
library water, because we don't have an
We don't
amount.
have
Oh,
a
so what do we
plan.
just do?
Barry.
Highway solar and council on aging van?
And the Bullard House.
And the
And the
Bullet
Bullet
House.
House.
Is
Okay.
that 3?
Yep.
Okay.
What, just feed, you wanna use that number?
For the
Barry's
Bullard House?
85?
No, I think we need to get, like, what would a feasibility, or, you know,
A contractor
I think we
estimate?
need to beef it up a little bit.
This historical contractor who could come in and maybe say what was needed. They say they had something a while ago, but I don't know.
How about, did Joe go over and take a look?
He did.
I thought he did.
And
How about
he came
just-
up with a $250,000 number or something like that.
It's
I
a
don't
giant
remember.
difference.
It was a huge.
Was that
Yeah.
just for a study, though?
No, that wasn't for a study.
That was to do some
He
work?
also, I think that was just the basic stuff, and he had no idea what would happen when you started actually
Right.
tearing stuff up. I mean, it's,
So why
I don't know.
don't you ask him for a ballpark number? It would be a little higher than 85, and can you let Mary know?
When does this
For a
need to be in by?
feasibility study,
No,
for the actual cost of actual
well,
renovation.
for whatever Joe says, as far as, is it for work, estimated for work, or is it for,
It'd still have to be per plan anyhow, you'd have to pay for some kind of study.
right,
So it's
right.
separate and above the construction
Maybe it would
cost.
be either for feasibility or for,
Contract?
or,
Plans?
I don't know, I think, or else we could set a number, we could just say 200,000, 150,000.
I'd say go higher.
This is the thing, I
Doesn't-
get uncomfortable asking because we don't have any.
Historical people that are gonna say
Right.
it's just not a floor, it's a blah, blah, blah floor. and
Right. Well, I mean, you can get the idea across in a description about how
You
we
could
want
say
to
restoration.
revamp or restore our historical Bullard House. But we do need a number of some kind, and whether you're gonna do it for feasibility or do some of the work. Maybe we need the feasibilities first, I don't know.
Some of it could come through CPA eventually.
True.
Hmm.
But this is an ask, so,
Ask Kai. Ask Kai and let him
Well,
cut it.
based on the grants last year that we actually got, they were pretty, they weren't, they were 20, 25 or, so they weren't really
A lot.
large.
not large, no. Why don't you get Joe's advice and let us know? Can you do that?
Yeah.
And then, well, you know, you can
I think we
copy
did.
Mary and.
We did have something.
Do we have an amount-ish for the van?
Mm. No idea.
And it would be a green van.
Maybe George
I
knows that.
Maybe Tom Galvin told me that he had sent some information over about, he had. Let me check with him on that one.
Okay.
I may be able to get a number for that one also.
Why don't you just update us, let us know.
Right, so
I
van,
need to
historical building, and
with Joe.
the solar
about-
panels.
Right. And I'm guessing the solar panels will be between 300,000 and 500,000.
Easily, because didn't Tim say last week that you're gonna, I think it was Tim, said
Yes.
something, you're gonna have to redo the roof to put them on it.
Or do
No.
the carport.
Yeah.
No, you'd have to redo the roof of this building if you
Oh,
put them
this
on
one,
there.
okay.
You also have to structurally reinforce the town barn. Doesn't have a roof that can support solar panels right now.
Yeah.
That's what you just said,
Yeah.
They do
I
not.
thought that they were ready to go.
No,
No,
he said
no,
last
no,
week
no,
that
they
no,
took
you'd have
that
to
out.
redo the roof.
Well, then, you know what, we're gonna work on the one you park under.
The
So-
garage.
Or we could build him a salt shed and put him up there.
Okay, so keep us posted on that.
Yeah.
When does this need to be in by?
January.
All right, so we have some time.
We have a little
But I
bit of
think he
time.
wants preliminary information
Before January?
before the end of the year. And then
Okay.
he really needed to firm up more with some documentation to back it up by the end of
Okay.
January.
Okay. Well, we can at least send him information about what
I
we
can
decided
get
Why don't we
tonight.
these-
revisit this for next week, and then you
Yeah.
could be able to answer by the end of the month.
Yeah. All right.
12.
Town council appearance at the February 2019 ABCC appeal hearing by RWJ. Do I have a
To
motion?
approve.
Yep. Send them.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town Administrator Screening Committee Composition Mission Statement? I don't know. Did I add
had
this?
sent you over. I had sent you over a write-up to look at.
I thought we approved that last.
No, that was the RFP.
We did the RFP.
Oh.
This was just the brief. I want to get it out there that we're looking for people for the screening committee.
You did?
Yeah,
I did.
I remember seeing it. That I remember reading.
Okay, and just tell me briefly. You don't have to read, you know.
It just requested citizen volunteers for a screening committee to find the next town administrator.
Okay, so it's basically just anyone can apply. Okay.
Yeah. I would still like to get the three that I
Well, I
have
mean,
talked to you guys about.
Can you
because they're a
get them
foundation.
to apply, or do you want to just make sure that we throw their names in the ring? And I mean, it's going to depend on who we get to apply.
Well, these actually fit slots. You're supposed to have certain people on this committee. So the reason that I had asked if I could talk to these folks and see if they would go ahead and do it is the superintendent is strongly recommended as a part of the committee. Somebody from finance
Yeah.
or that
Well, I
background.
would assume that they'll be approved. I'm just saying, we need to do it fairly, right?
Well, actually, we need to pick the appropriate people for the
Yes,
committee. and
exactly.
those three people, in my opinion, are the appropriate people to start the committee with.
You can't really start the committee though until you have everybody, right?
Well, here's my recommendation is that we have depending on the applications that come in, which normally we are not inundated with, I would say that we can leave it open whether the committee's gonna be 5 to 7 and choose, in addition to those 3 individuals, another 2 to 4, depending on the applications that come in. I would like to make sure that because 2 of those people are non-residents, that the rest of them are residents.
Well, I assume that's the way it will work, but I think in order to be fair, we need to make sure that, you could even change your mind. But, yeah, I mean,
So we're gonna put out the request.
yep, were you good with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Great. Can we please post that?
There's a mission statement?
It was the thing that I sent over is really all we need to put out there. It doesn't have to be
Was it a mission
crazy
statement?
specific. I mean, the mission statement is to be on the screening committee for the town administrator, and then it doesn't really have to be any more complicated than that.
Okay. All right, so do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mass
Contracts.
What is this?
We needed to sign something, I know, for the community garden.
These are the last year's legislative
Ah.
requests. In
Is
order
that
for
here?
the money to come here, you need to sign contracts for the
That's
UTV and the irrigation system for the community garden.
I did see that. I don't know that I read it. Okay. The standard contract form?
And there's one behind it, too.
All right. These are to get the 2 things that we requested last year, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And did we make a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye. So this means I don't have to lug water now down in my garden spot. Just saying.
Yeah, well,
I think we should have a selectman garden.
I have allergies. I want nothing to do with gardening. Thank you. I end up with
I'll
dirt
help you.
and snot all over my face.
that's attractive.
It really.
You want to do a
not so
garden
much.
next year with me?
I used to garden all the time, and then I just got tired of like making mud.
All right, doing my own garden. There you go. Mm-hmm. Wow, trying to build kinship here, and
Yeah,
I
I
got
tried. Y'all
snot
wouldn't-
over here,
y'all
and I got
wouldn't
laughing
go on-
over
go
here,
to
and
Boundless
you're
Adventures
helping
with
Jane,
me.
and you're like, yeah,
I'll come and
no.
watch it.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Cheer on.
All right. Did I say all in favor?
Yeah, I,
Okay. All right. Communications to National Grid.
We actually have a liaison to National Grid.
Yes.
Would you like me to just touch base with her with these 2 issues and see if she can track down what's going on?
We have a woman? I thought it was
It's
a guy.
Adrian Hubley.
Is that through?
Scott Farrar is on strike duty, which is probably why all of these issues are happening.
Oh, strikes. They're on
So
strike.
Adrian.
Oh, yeah, Andrew-
Adrian Hubley.
yeah, they've been on strike for a
Yeah.
while. Summer?
Adrian, yeah. I think it's Adrian, Andrea.
Yeah, you're aware of both these issues?
Yep.
That's the
Okay.
giddy up message. Giddy up, get going, National Grid.
Yes. All
Need
right.
To get the hotel opened. Mm-hmm.
That would be very helpful. And do you want to let both parties know and copy us, or?
Sure.
Okay. I'm sure if you need Mr. Rossini's,
I don't know if we're gonna get anywhere.
No, I know,
mean,
but
'cause
just-
this is National Grid.
no kidding. No kidding.
But Adrian, she's decent, so. she should at least be able to maybe find us what's going on,
Yep.
not make it go
Well,
any
at least,
faster.
you know,
just-
making the effort is, at least, you know, you can only try. All right. Other new business? Old business?
I have 5. Lisa's like, I want to go to bed.
See,
I'll make them quick.
Totally kicking you on the way out.
All right, I'm gonna make them quick.
She's been threatened
Easy
now.
peasy, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Here we go. The coffee talk. Mary, can you post a follow-up like in a month from now on the agenda as a reminder? Because I got it, I put it out there, Garth put it out there on the website for us, but I know that there's items that need to be followed up on, like the blinky light in the center of town. I did talk to Tom, and he said that they were perhaps pursuing a grant. So I want to be able to follow up on those. So just like a month from now, if you just want to put, you know, like update, coffee talk, action items, that's fine. See, that's 1.
Do you want these?
2, Mary, can you confirm with me the dates of the Mark Rhodes presentation? Because a gentleman actually read our notes and said that the date that we gave him was incorrect and the presentation wasn't there. So if you can confirm that. Remember when Mark and Sand and Gravel Guy sat here? If you could just confirm that date. Off that coffee talk, I had a lady write me back. She had a question.
October 10th,
And that's what I put,
At
and he
6
said it
p.m.
wasn't there.
there's 2
Oh.
meetings. So one set of meeting minutes is gonna be
Oh.
online at 6 PM, and the other 7 o'clock where you went to a ZBA meeting, it was a Wednesday.
All right, I'll tell him.
So
Thanks.
he might be looking at the wrong.
Okay, all right. So speaking of the coffee talk, the pond as you're heading on 62 into Hudson, by the greenhouse that's falling down. It's on the left-hand side. Then there's a pond right there. Used to be an antique shop open right there. A woman called and asked if we could check with DEP about that pond, because she didn't know if that was a fire pond that was too silty, and she reached out to DEP and got absolutely nowhere on it. So,
what is she looking for?
for us to reach out to DEP and see if the pond is really salvageable, or is it under protection and you can't ever use it as a fire pond.
Did you ask their chief that?
I didn't, it just came in.
I would ask him first before we go, and then he can reach
He
out
can
to
fight that battle?
DEP if that's necessary.
Okay. Over the weekend, I got reached out twice, one by phone call, one by email, in regard to the last Council on Aging meeting that happened, that the request was to offer an opportunity for the Council on Aging to potentially sit with us, the Board of Selectmen, and kind of ease everything out. And so I don't know.
See if we can help work
See if we can
things
help.
out.
So I don't know if we just ask if they want to come, or I don't know. But I told,
That was the suggestion of
The-
these people?
yes, to offer an opportunity for the Council on Aging to come sit with the Board of Selectmen.
You're gonna
I know.
have to do that during the day if we do that.
Okay, we can on Friday, I'll come down.
Why?
Because,
They don't want to come out at night?
yeah.
Okay.
I got nothing.
I wasn't
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, they don't
But
wanna.
maybe I was missing something.
Even 4 o'clock is late, so.
Okay.
Okay.
All
Well,
right.
we'd have to do it on Friday if,
So can you reach out to the Council on Aging? Or do you want me to reach out?
I can do it.
I
if
know
you
it's a
want.
fine line. I don't want to alienate people. I don't want Holly to think that we're attacking her. I don't want the council thinking that we're attacking them, but we've been asked by 2 separate people to kind of intervene.
So is that the gist of it, is that we've had a couple of suggestions that perhaps you'd like to meet with us?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And the last one is the reappointment by Dennis. Also came in via an email, that the question was, or the statement was posed, is that, yes, we're busy, but do we really want to post, do we want to think about an RFP for that opportunity? And I guess there's a certification that's needed by Dennis to be treasurer, and that hasn't been obtained. So what are we doing about that?
Is it to be treasurer collector?
Treasurer.
Just treasurer?
Treasurer.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's
Treasurer?
anything that you can add to that?
Each one has a certification. Is it mandatory? I don't believe it's
I don't
Is it
know.
mandatory.
for tax collector?
Tax collector, because
Yeah.
Richard had a certification and we used to pay an extra for an incentive. And treasurer has one too. Dennis has never taken the test. as far as
Because
I
it's
know.
not? You don't know?
It's just,
Okay. Well, we can look into that,
All right, do you want me to reach out to him?
if you want to reach out to them.
I
to-
would
to him.
love to. Okay. All right, I'm done. My 5 are done.
So what was?
So it was the coffee talk
No,
reminder for
the last one.
Oh, for Dennis, to talk to him about a certification, his certification as treasurer, and do we want to continue to have discussions about possibly posting an RFP for that? Because
I
the
think we're
comment
waiting-
was, I know
yeah.
you guys are busy, but I don't think that you should just skirt it and say,
Right.
Well, it wasn't just about being busy. I also think we need to talk about the type of upheaval that you introduce when you have a staff that's this small and you're talking about changing up with an entirely new management system and a new fire chief in that same period of time. That's a lot of change in a small environment.
Well, right, and I think we're gonna, you know, I was hoping that we would hear from either personnel or, we'd have to look into it ourselves to make sure that we're doing things, you know, by the book. If we need to do a search, we'll do a search.
You may actually, this may just be a quick question for legal, actually.
Yes, it would be, I was thinking
rather
either
than personnel.
personnel
I'm not
or
sure that
legal.
they can-
Okay.
I mean,
Or look at I haven't had a chance to look at the personnel bylaws or
Right.
yeah.
policies
Well,
myself
that wouldn't
yet.
be why you had to, the personnel bylaws would not be why you had to post it. That would be a legal requirement if it's
Well, I
required.
mean, there may be something stricter in the Berlin bylaws or policies than in Mass General Law. That's why I was gonna look into it.
all right, and I lied, I did have one more. The RFP for
Why is
fire.
that kicking you?
Don't take my crutches. The RFP for the fire. I mean, I read through it, it looked fine. Is it okay if we just like break it and swap out town of Berlin?
True.
That's exactly what I
Okay,
did.
all right, so can we do that? Mary, can you break it or
Yeah.
have Jim break it,
Because the search
James?
firm is really gonna look and go, wow, this is a standard thing, here's your package.
Right, here's your package again.
James
Okay.
took it off the web and turned it into a text document for me.
All right, so then you can
I
just flip
mess with
everything
it.
out and then we
Yeah.
just have to tinker with
Yeah.
dates, kind of align them with Lisa's-ish.
Yes, and add a week or so,
And do you wanna put
which is probably
this
wise
on the
anyhow.
agenda for approval?
Yeah?
Yes,
Okay.
Monday.
Monday? All
Okay.
right. All right.
Yeah, there were some other minor tweaks in there, like theirs talked about the interim chief, ours isn't an interim chief, so I mean, there's some words in there that you're gonna have to carve out, but
Right.
we can go through that. If you break it into Word and send it through, then we can just send all the changes back.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, now I'm done.
All right.
Hurry up and close the meeting, I'll come up with something else.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Mr. Bradley.